Qin Feng, although you are currently just a recruit, the courage, determination, and ability you have shown far exceed those of most veterans. From the moment you rushed into the fire to save people, you were already on our radar, and the leaders have been observing you all along. Now, I can responsibly tell you that you are an outstanding soldier and will certainly be an excellent commander in the future. The word commander made Qin Feng pause slightly. Wei Shanhe was very pleased with his reaction and then said seriously, based on the discussions held by our leaders at various levels, it has been decided to remove your one-stripe military rank and promote you to lieutenant, appointing you as the acting deputy company commander of the Steel Knife Company. Your company has not had a deputy company commander for years, and now you will fill that role. Qin Feng's eyes widened, and his mouth slightly opened, almost thinking he had misheard. Previously, hadn't he, the company commander and squad leader, said they would send him to the training team? How could he suddenly be promoted to lieutenant and become the acting deputy company commander? The leap and surprise were too great. At that moment, everyone below was also taken aback. In the military, promotions must be earned step by step. A recruit must serve as a squad vice leader before being eligible for training at the teaching team. After returning from training, one can serve as a squad leader, and then progress through the ranks. As for advancing from a regular soldier to an officer, it can only be achieved through academic examinations and promotions, entering military academies for further studies. Only after graduating from a military academy can one possibly become a second lieutenant or lieutenant. Then, one would typically start as a squad leader or a civilian staff member in the company. If one performs well, it might take years to be considered for the position of deputy platoon leader. However, no one expected that Qin Feng would leap over several ranks and complete years of career progression in one go. He stepped in as a lieutenant deputy platoon leader. Although it was only an acting position, he held real authority. Some people below felt envious, some admired him, while others harbored a bit of jealousy. The reason for the jealousy stemmed from the significant disparity in life experiences. Clearly, everyone followed the same process in the military, ate the same meals, and trained on the same field, so why was there such a gap? At this moment, Wei Shanhe had already put the lieutenant insignia with 1 star and 2 bars on Qin Feng's shoulders and addressed everyone. I know that some of you may feel uncomfortable and unbalanced. You might think that Qin Feng is just a new recruit who joined the army only 6 months ago. What qualifications does he have to enjoy such treatment? But I want to tell you that the military has never been stingy with rewards for capable soldiers. In times of war, it is common for someone in their 20s to become a general. Nowadays, although we are in peacetime, if you can achieve great merit and make significant contributions to the military, the people, and the country, you too can have the opportunity for exceptional promotion. His voice was loud and powerful, and everyone listened attentively. Wei Shanhe patted Qin Feng's shoulder, saying, "Comrade Qin Feng, during the gas explosion, you organized the rescue efforts immediately, reducing casualties, and rushed into the fire to save over 40 children. You were later awarded the first-class merit medal, titled People's Guardian, and your heroic deeds have been widely circulated and established as a model for others in the military." He continued, "Subsequently, you were awarded a second-class merit and a third-class merit medal. Furthermore, in this mission, one of your actions indirectly saved countless lives of drug enforcement officers and civilians." His tone became calmer. "I can say this with great responsibility. Qin Feng's performance and contributions this time could easily earn him another first-class merit. However, due to military regulations, it is not possible to award the same person 2 first-class merit medals in a short period. Therefore, we can only lower the level and award him a second-class merit. But that does not mean his contributions are limited to this." Hearing this, Ge Xiong's eyes twitched involuntarily. He received a second-class merit because his capabilities were at that level. Qin Feng received a second-class merit because it was currently the highest honor medal available to him. After all, first-class merits are extremely rare. If awarded to the same person in quick succession, especially to a new recruit, it would certainly cause a stir domestically. Therefore, the exceptional promotion to lieutenant and the position of acting deputy platoon leader was, in fact, an indirect compensation for Qin Feng. After listening to the commander's explanation, no one harbored any doubts. After all, there were so many tangible military achievements laid out. It was only because it was peacetime that promotions were slow. Had it been during wartime, Qin Feng would likely have already been a major or lieutenant colonel by now. Standing at the forefront, looking at the shiny new lieutenant insignia on his shoulder, Qin Feng felt delighted. Just when he thought his recognition was over, Wei Shanhe dropped another bombshell. Chapter 215, Commander, are you facing emotional issues too? In the cafeteria, the sound of slurping noodles filled the air. Sun Quan picked up a bunch of noodles and put them in his mouth, followed by a sip of soup. At that moment, 2 stainless steel bowls suddenly appeared in front of him, one big and one small. The large bowl contained dry stir-fried noodles with green pepper and shredded meat, while the small bowl held noodle soup, sprinkled with a bit of pepper and adorned with a few green onion bits. Wow, one bowl isn't enough. So they brought another one? Is this a return to the original dish? Hee hee, I have a big appetite. I just had soup noodles. And now I'll try the dry ones. Qiu Guohai grabbed some chili oil and scooped 2 spoonfuls into the bowl, adding a dash of vinegar. Then he picked up 2 chopsticks and mixed the noodles evenly. He then slurped them down like a vacuum. Crunch. Then he took another bite of garlic. It was simply delicious. Want some? Qiu Guohai waved the garlic clove in his hand at him. No thanks, I can't handle this stuff. It's too strong and gives me heartburn. Sun Quan quickly waved his hand to refuse. Not eating garlic with noodles? You're missing half the flavor. You're just being picky. Qiu Guohai laughed, tossing the garlic into his mouth, and then slurped down another bunch of noodles. Perhaps they were hungry, or maybe the hand-pulled noodles were indeed chewy. So both were enjoying their meal. Before long, both of their bowls were empty. At that moment, a sound of casual footsteps came from outside. The two put down their chopsticks and looked out the window. A group of soldiers was approaching the cafeteria in small clusters. Hey, Fenggu, you really are my idol. Our strongest recruit this year. Simply amazing. Lu Xiaoguang exclaimed, waving his fists as he walked, as if it was he who received the recognition and promotion from the leaders. Niu Taijun glanced at him and said in a deep voice, What do you mean your class? No class has someone like him. Several veterans nearby looked on with envy. Qin Feng's experience in the military seemed almost legendary. He was always in the thick of things, achieving remarkable feats, and all were significant. In just 6 months of service, he jumped straight from a private to a rank of Lieutenant 2 stars. What kind of speed was that? Not even a high-speed train could match it. He even received a reward of 200,000. He was truly a winner in life, something he wouldn't even dare to dream of. Beside him, Wu Jin, who had just resumed his position as the squad leader, smiled but said nothing. When Qin Feng first arrived, he had misconceptions about him due to Zhao Pengfei's injury, leading to some biases. However, over time, those biases faded as he got to know Qin Feng and recognized his strengths. From confronting the Border Defense Brigade to executing missions, Qin Feng not only played a crucial role, but also showcased his charisma. Even his safe return to the country could be attributed to Qin Feng. Therefore, this honor and reward were indeed well-deserved. By the way, squad leader, can I ask you a question? Niu Taijun suddenly leaned closer to Wu Jin and asked mysteriously. Seeing his sneaky expression, Wu Jin inquired, What do you want to ask? Niu Taijun glanced at Zhao Pengfei and Lu Yong, who were walking in front, and curiously asked. Zhao Pengfei is now acting as the deputy squad leader of the second squad. What about squad leader Lu? It can't be that there are 2 squad leaders for 1 squad, right? Wu Jin shrugged. I'm not sure, but the company commander should have a plan. At that moment, Zhao Pengfei was discussing something with Lu Yong, who looked quite reluctant. Old Lu, starting today, the position of supply officer is yours. The accounts and procurement lists are all in the drawer of the office, mostly organized. You can take a look later, Zhao Pengfei said. Lu Yong was frowning, looking as if he were about to turn into a bitter melon. He never dreamed that he would be replaced by Zhao Pengfei. Although the supply officer position was a relatively easy job, not requiring training and involving mainly logistics management. As a graduate from a military academy with a major in combat command, his dream was to showcase his skills on the battlefield. He never expected to be assigned to manage logistics instead. Logistics is a place meant for retirement. At this age, when he should be charging forward and making achievements, how could he be sent to manage logistics? Zhao Pengfei, tell me the truth. Did the company commander intend to send me to logistics all along? Whether you took over or Qin Feng did, I would have to pack my things and leave the combat squad, right? That's not what the company commander meant. Zhao Pengfei clearly wasn't good at lying. He scratched his nose and awkwardly said, Mainly, there aren't many positions available right now. The company commander might want you to gain some experience in logistics, so. Lu Yong felt like cursing. Experience my foot. Just signing papers and managing accounts. Anyone can do that with a little guidance. It's so unfair. I've been in military school for 4 years. And after only a little over a year as a squad leader, I'm sent off to logistics. Was my time in military school all for nothing? Zhao Pengfei patted him on the back and comforted, just think of it as a break. If you can win first place in the competition later, and our company expands, you can come back, right? Upon hearing this, Lu Yong felt a bit better. He decided to channel his frustration into eating more noodles later. Just as they reached the steps, they saw Qiu Guohai and Sun Quan coming out, so they immediately saluted. Good day, Commander. Good day, Chief of Staff. Qiu Guohai returned the salute and was about to speak when he noticed the second lieutenant insignia on Zhao Pengfei's shoulder. Surprised, he asked, Zhao Pengfei, you haven't even been to military school yet, and you're already wearing second lieutenant insignia? Impressive. Zhao Pengfei scratched his head, forcing a smile. Unsure of how to respond. Qiu Guohai clicked his tongue, but didn't ask further. After all, he knew what mission the Steel Knife Company was undertaking this time. And Zhao Pengfei, as a third-term sergeant, had already made quite a few contributions. With this outstanding performance, it would indeed be acceptable for him to be promoted by the higher-ups. What about your company commander? Qiu Guohai glanced back. The company commander is talking with the leaders. Oh, and what about Qin Feng? Qin Feng is also in a conversation with the leaders. They are over there. Following, Zhao Peng faced her direction. Qiu Guohai noticed from a distance that Ge Zhiyong and Qin Feng were chatting with the division commander in front of a vehicle. The division commander was smiling and patting Qin Feng on the shoulder, as if encouraging a younger generation. Soon, Lu Chong got into the vehicle and prepared to leave. As the car passed by the canteen entrance, he happened to see Qiu Guohai and his companion standing on the steps. Lu Chong rolled down the car window and looked at the two with curiosity. Qiu Guohai, what are you two doing here? Hello, division commander. The two saluted first and then explained, we came by to take care of some business on the way. Lu Chong looked them up and down, clearly not believing their excuses. Next week, the Strong Army Cup competition is about to start. You better not let me down. I don't expect you to be at the top, but you must maintain a performance above average. Otherwise, when it's time for a change of duty, just wait and see how I deal with you. Qiu Guohai quickly assured him, don't worry, division commander. Our regiment will definitely achieve good results this time and bring you honor. Lu Chong waved his hand, simply telling them to make good use of the remaining time for training. As they watched the division commander's car gradually move away, the two shifted their attention back. Seeing Ge Zhiyong and Qin Feng approaching, Qiu Guohai smiled and walked down the steps. But the next second, he stopped in surprise, his eyes wide open. Hello, commander. Hello, chief of staff. Qin Feng smiled and saluted the two. However, the two were staring intently at his shoulder insignia, their expressions as if they had seen a ghost. Qiu Guohai couldn't help but point at his uniform and ask, Qin, aren't you being a bit too bold? Wearing your company commander's insignia in front of the division commander? Qin Feng paused for a moment, about to explain, but Ge Zhiyong smiled and answered for him. Commander, Qin Feng's lieutenant rank is genuine. It was personally awarded to him by the division commander. He is now the acting deputy company commander of our Steel Blade Company. Qiu Guohai's eyes almost popped out. What? You've only been in the military for a short time, and you've jumped straight to lieutenant deputy company commander? That is faster than taking a plane. Sun Quan's eyes twitched a couple of times, as if he were listening to a story. Qin Feng laughed heartily, not wanting to show off, and changed the subject by asking, have you two had a meal? Would you like to join us for a simple meal? Ha ha ha, we've already eaten. Just a while ago during your meeting. The noodles were quite chewy, and the shredded pork with green peppers was also good. Seeing the shine of oil on their lips and catching a whiff of garlic from Qiu Guohai, Qin Feng and Ge Zhiyong exchanged glances, inwardly muttering. A dignified colonel and division commander actually came to the canteen to sneak some noodles? Commander, did you come for something? Qin Feng asked curiously. Yes. Qiu Guohai nodded vigorously. I came to ask for your help, and only you can assist me with this. What's up, Commander? Are you facing emotional issues too? It wouldn't be that your wife is threatening to divorce you, would it? Qiu Guohai shot Ge Zhiyong a fierce glare and said irritably, get out of here. My relationship with your sister-in-law is just fine. I'm here for something else. Chapter 216, Deputy Company Commander's Treatment. Independent dormitory office. The situation is roughly like this. In the office, after hearing Qiu Guohai's request, Qin Feng didn't speak immediately. Instead, Ge Zhiyong awkwardly said, Commander, isn't this request a bit too much for Qin Feng? He's not a miracle worker. I know it's a bit demanding, but other teams are fully committed, training harder than ever. I'm really anxious. I haven't been able to sleep well these nights, Qiu Guohai said with a gushao. Everyone has shown signs of fatigue in training these days. If I continue to go through the motions, we might end up in the lower rankings during the competition. You know that right after the competition, there's a reshuffle. And this time's results will directly impact the future development of the 402nd Regiment. Right now, at least a quarter of the personnel have left the regiment. If we can't achieve decent results this time, we might not even be able to maintain our current structure. The office fell silent. Everyone knew Qiu Guohai wasn't exaggerating. The direction of military reform is to shed excess weight, allowing various units to slim down. The 402nd Border Defense Regiment is bloated and its combat capability is mediocre. Such units are usually the first to be cut. In the end, if there are no personnel left, it could lead to a restructuring or merging with other units. These are not unusual occurrences in the wave of military reform and optimization. Qiu Guohai was prepared for the worst, which is why he had the courage to seek help, hoping to secure an additional insurance policy before the competition. After all, as you improve, other units are advancing as well. No one is foolish. Everyone wants to perform well in the competition to secure more funding and better infrastructure for their camps. Ge Zhiyong and Guohai Tao exchanged glances, both looking somewhat worried. They had come from the Border Defense Regiment and naturally did not want to see their old unit fall into such a situation. Moreover, this time's overseas mission benefited greatly from Qiu Guohai's assistance. If it weren't for his strong support, it probably wouldn't have been the Steel Knife Company that got the opportunity to perform. Therefore, out of both emotion and reason, they felt they had to help. Ge Zhiyong looked at Qin Feng and asked, Qin Feng, you heard the commander's request. Do you have any way to help the 402nd Regiment make a final push? Xiao Guohai quickly added, it's not necessary to come in first. As long as we can stabilize in the middle and strive for the upper ranks, that would be fine. Qin Feng stroked his chin, pondering for a few seconds before saying, I do have a method, but what? But it's a bit harsh. A bit harsh? Xiao Guohai slapped his thigh and said, I'm just afraid it's not harsh enough. Qin Feng, whatever you have, just let it out. I'm not focused on the process right now. I only care about the results. Sun Quan nodded. Special times require special measures. At such times, you can whip them with chili water, and none of us will have any objections. Upon hearing this, Qin Feng smiled slightly. All right. Then you gather all the elite participants for the competition at the training ground early tomorrow morning, and we'll go over there. Good. Xiao Guohai stood up with a smile. With your word, I'm relieved. I'll leave this matter entirely to you. Captain, no need to be so polite. We're all family. It's only natural to help each other, Qin Feng said, waving his hand politely. Having resolved the concern, Xiao Guohai's face immediately brightened with a few more smiles. And he generously praised Qin Feng. He showered him with compliments like a dragon among men, young talents, the future of the army, and the hope of the nation. Throwing a bunch of flattering words at Qin Feng as if they were free. Sun Quan also acted like a sidekick, not holding back his admiration for Qin Feng. Although Qin Feng knew what they said was true, he felt a bit embarrassed as they continued to praise him. After seeing the two off downstairs as they drove away, Qin Feng turned around. Just as he returned to the hallway, Ge Xiong and Gua Haitao immediately approached him. Qin Feng, what exactly are you planning to do? The Border Defense Regiment is different from us. With such little time, it's hard to expect any results from intensive training, right? Qin Feng kept them guessing and didn't reveal his plan, leaving the two speechless. However, Ge Xiong didn't delve deeper into the issue, knowing it was someone else's responsibility and that they should just do their best. By the way, Qin Feng, there are no extra beds in Team 6. Zhao Pengfei is about to move back, so you need to pack up and move out. Huh. Qin Feng paused. Where will I move to? Are there any spare beds in the other teams? Ha ha ha. You are now the acting deputy company commander of the Steel Knife Company. No need to squeeze into the dormitory with everyone else. You now have your own dormitory, bathroom, and a separate office. Seeing the smiles on their faces, Qin Feng suddenly felt a bit embarrassed. He hadn't fully adjusted to his current identity and still thought of himself as a new recruit. In the army, officers above the deputy company level enjoy separate dormitories and offices. Although the facilities might be slightly less than those of the company commander and instructor, they still have their own space. Having a private bathroom, office, and dormitory is a privilege only officers can enjoy in a military environment where everyone else shares. This is also why so many people strive to become officers. I'll find someone to help you pack your room later. You should also tidy up your dormitory. I'll take you over after that. Okay. Qin Feng felt pleased, but just as he was about to leave, he suddenly stopped. Captain, I need to take care of something at the regiment later. You don't need to tell us about that. Today is the weekend, and you are the deputy company commander of the Steel Knife Company. You do have some authority. That's not it. Captain, you misunderstood my intention. Need a vehicle, right? Ge Xiong took out a set of keys from his pocket and tossed them to him. Although our company doesn't have a helicopter, we do have a few cars. You can take mine. Qin Feng smiled wryly and said, you gave me the keys, but I don't have a driver's license. Ge Xiong widened his eyes in surprise. You finished your senior year and didn't take the driving test? Qin Feng rolled his eyes and looked at him with a speechless expression. Ge Xiong smacked his forehead and immediately remembered. I almost forgot. If you had a license, I wouldn't have made you take the bus back last time. He thought for a moment and then continued. How about this? When you run into Zhao Pengfei later, just tell him. He has a driver's license. So let him drive you out. All right. Qin Feng nodded with a smile. Make sure to find time to get your license, Ge Xiong urged. It won't cost you a dime in the army. With your smarts, you'll definitely learn quickly. Got it. Although Qin Feng could drive, he knew he couldn't operate a vehicle without a license. Otherwise, if he got caught or had an accident, it would be a real hassle. Seeing Qin Feng run toward the dormitory without looking back, Ge Xiong turned to Gua Haitao beside him. Old Gua, go help Qin Feng tidy up his dorm. Come on, Gua Haitao exclaimed, eyes wide. Didn't you say to find someone to clean? Well, I found you, Ge Xiong replied with a grin. After all the days of training with the special forces and rushing back, everyone was exhausted. They were allowed to rest for a bit at noon since there was more training in the afternoon. You're the least busy among us. So I thought I'd give you something to do to keep you from getting rusty. Ge Xiong, I've noticed your tongue is getting sharper. Gua Haitao retorted. Why don't you take my place as instructor and I'll step down? Hey, I handle military matters, and you take care of daily life. This is all part of your job, Ge Xiong said. Isn't it just dusting and changing the sheets? How big of a deal is that? Seeing Ge Xiong's cunning expression, Gua Haitao rolled his eyes in annoyance. He huffed and said nothing, then went upstairs to grab a towel from Ge Xiong's dorm. After spitting on it a bit, he headed to Qin Feng's dorm and started vigorously dusting off the table. At the same time, as Qin Feng walked into the dormitory, He saw Lu Yong coming down the stairs with bags in hand, looking as if he were running away from home. Lu Yong, what is going on? Deputy Company Commander. I need to report to logistics. Lu Yong sniffled, looking pitiful. If you want a late-night snack in the future, just let me know. If I can wake up, I'll get it for you. In the 6th Squad dormitory, everyone was lying on their beds resting. The previous training had been so intense that everyone was physically and mentally exhausted. Therefore, the squad leader had allowed everyone to sleep for 2 hours at noon to recover some strength before the series of high-intensity training scheduled for the afternoon. Qin Feng gently pushed the door open and saw Zhao Pengfei busy organizing something by the bed. As he approached, he realized the squad leader was helping him sort his belongings. Squad leader? I can handle it myself, Qin Feng said as he lightly patted him from behind. Zhao Pengfei stood up and smiled, saying, still calling me squad leader? You're already a deputy company commander now, just call me by my name, and if you prefer, you can call me old Zhao. Qin Feng stubbornly shook his head. No matter what position I hold or how high I rise, you will always be my squad leader. Zhao Pengfei felt a warmth in his heart and then punched him lightly on the chest. It seems my efforts weren't in vain. If you really dare to call me old Zhao, even if you become a division commander or a brigade commander, I'll still hit you with my belt. Do you believe that? Qin Feng smiled broadly, that familiar feeling from their time in the recruit company returning once more. Previously, he was worried that becoming Zhao Pengfei's superior might create some distance between them. After all, throughout history, such things have happened countless times. But now it seemed that worry was unnecessary. The squad leader was still the same squad leader, unchanged. I've basically sorted out everything for you. Zhao Pengfei picked up the bag on the floor. Let us go. There's quite a bit of stuff. I'll help you carry it over. Seeing this, Qin Feng quickly stopped him. Squad leader, it's just a little bit of stuff. I can make another trip. Zhao Pengfei nudged him with his elbow, not giving him the chance. That would be too troublesome. Just carry your backpack. I'll take care of the rest. After all, you're now a deputy company commander. If you go out without someone to carry your bags, people might think you're a fake lieutenant. Qin Feng felt a mix of amusement and helplessness, so he reluctantly shouldered his bag. But just as the two were about to step out of the dormitory, Wu Jin suddenly sat up from his bed. Deputy company commander, when you have time, come back and visit us more often. Yes, come back more often. Don't forget about us brothers from class 6, just because you've become successful. The others also got up from their beds, clearly not having slept at all. Qin Feng turned around, ready to speak, but Zhao Pengfei shot them a glare. Hurry up and lie down to sleep. He.S. just moving to a different dormitory. Why does it feel like he.S. about to retire? Hey, squad leader, we just wanted to create some emotion and atmosphere. Niu Taijun said with a grin, and immediately, everyone lay back down, pretending to be sound asleep. Qin Feng found it somewhat amusing, but Zhao Pengfei was already urging him to leave quickly, saying that once they got to the new dormitory, he should also lie down and rest. As their footsteps faded down the corridor, in Class 6's dormitory, Niu Taijun poked his head out from under the covers like a turtle. Then, he whispered to Wu Jin's bed, squad leader. Why do I feel like the squad leader treats Qin Feng much better than he treats you? Yeah, others chimed in, lifting their covers like turtle heads. He's helping with packing and carrying bags. It's almost like he's a mother. Don't talk nonsense. Qin Feng is now the deputy company commander, so it's only natural for the squad leader to treat him better, Wu Jin retorted defensively. Is that so? But it seems to me, even if Qin Feng wasn't the deputy company commander, the squad leader would still treat him better than you. Niu Taijun seized the opportunity to tease again. As soon as he finished speaking, a pillow flew toward him, hitting him squarely on the head and silencing him. Why are you so chatty? Wu Jin scolded angrily. Aren't you going to sleep? Don't sleep. Get out to the playground and run 10 laps. As soon as he said that, Niu Taijun closed his eyes again and burrowed into his blanket. But just 2 seconds later, he couldn't help but speak up. I bet a pack of spicy snacks that the squad leader will help carry the stuff over and definitely make the bed and fold the blankets too. The others immediately nodded in agreement. Does that even need to be asked? With the squad leader's personality, he might even wipe down the table and chairs. Hearing this, Wu Jin silently shrank his head into the blanket, feeling as if he had swallowed several lemons, his heart sour. Biting his lip, his face seemed to wear a mask of pain. Why have I never enjoyed such treatment? Just because Zhao Pengfei is better looking, more capable, more understanding of social nuances, and more like than I am. Squad leader, I can handle it myself. Oh, come on, take a break. Just sit down and rest for a bit. Or organize the things in your bag and put them in the cabinet. I'll be fine in a moment. Zhao Pengfei, holding a cloth, had just wiped down the inside and outside of the cabinet and then started cleaning the tables and benches. While wiping, he muttered, who cleaned this place? The hygiene is a mess. I could clean it better with my feet. Gua Haitao came over to deliver a brand new set of sheets and blankets. After hearing this, he didn't know where to put his face. He put down the items and remarked that the weather was nice, then quietly exited the dorm. Zhao Pengfei quickly finished wiping the table and came over to help Qin Feng make the bed. Watching Zhao Pengfei bend over and efficiently tidy up in front of the bed, Qin Feng felt as if his parents were accompanying him to college to check in. After selecting a dormitory, they were helping to organize the bedding. All right, Zhao Pengfei said briskly, pointing at the scattered blankets on the bed. I won't fold the blankets for you. I don't want you to lie down and cover up later. At that moment, Qin Feng pulled out a pack of cigarettes from his pocket. Squad leader, want one? Oh, still smoking those. Zhao Pengfei's eyes lit up. Where did you get them? The team leader shoved them to me when he left. Well, I guess I'm benefiting from you today, but don't smoke inside. It's just been cleaned. Zhao Pengfei was as meticulous as ever, afraid of getting the freshly cleaned room smelling like smoke. Once they were outside in the corridor, Qin Feng lit a cigarette for him. The two leaned against the railing, quietly smoking. Squad leader, thank you. Thank me? It's just cleaning a room. Isn't it faster with two people than one? I'm not talking about that. If it weren't for you making me the deputy squad leader and teaching me those lessons, I wouldn't have been able to get to where I am today. Seeing the sincerity on Qin Feng's face, Zhao Pengfei exhaled a puff of smoke and smiled. In that case, I should thank you too. If I hadn't met you, I might have reached the fourth phase and my military career would have ended there. He glanced at the insignia on his shoulder and sighed deeply. Becoming an officer was something I never even dared to think about before. It feels like a dream. With my level of education, dropping out of high school, if I can become an officer in this lifetime, my ancestors' graves would surely be smoking. Qin Feng said seriously. Squad leader, I have a feeling that being a second lieutenant is just the beginning for you. With your abilities, becoming a company officer is only a matter of time. Zhao Pengfei's smile grew even wider. This kid Qin Feng always knew how to flatter people sincerely. He still remembered the first day of basic training when he asked Qin Feng why, being so popular with girls outside, he still came to the army. Qin Feng replied, Squad leader, didn't you come too? Zhao Pengfei almost laughed out loud and even thought of himself as a handsome man for a moment. All right, I should head back. You take a break, Zhao Pengfei said after finishing his smoke. Didn't you say we need to head out around 2? Okay, you rest too, Qin Feng replied, preparing to go back to his dorm for a little while. But after just a couple of steps, Zhao Pengfei suddenly called out to him. Qin Feng turned around and saw Zhao Pengfei standing at attention. He straightened his chest, raised his right hand, and saluted him properly. Deputy Company Commander, do a good job. The second lieutenant is just your starting point. The squad leader looks forward to the day you become a division commander, a corps commander, or even a general. Qin Feng's body shook slightly, and he bit his lip hard as if trying to suppress a smile, but his eyes were misty. He nodded vigorously and returned a military salute. Thank you, squad leader. Let us work hard together. Chapter 218. Bok Brothers, give a salute to Brother Feng Bang. Bang bang. Bang bang. The sound of gunfire echoed continuously at the shooting range of the marksman company. A squad of 10 soldiers was lying on the ground, practicing shooting in the prone position. Company Commander Wu Jian, using binoculars, took a look at the distant targets, then picked up the radio. Target report. Soon. The voice of the target reporter came through the radio. After hearing the performance report, Wu Jian nodded and walked to the 5th shooting position. He squatted down and patted Li Jianxing on the shoulder, smiling as he said, Li Jianxing, you're improving quickly. More than half of your 10 shots hit the 10 ring. Li Jianxing turned his head with a grin. Commander, before coming to the army, my dad took me on a trip to a certain country, and I practiced specifically at the shooting range. Last year, I flew first class to another country and went there too. All right, stop right there. I don't want to hear any more. Wu Jian impatiently raised his hand to stop him. Li Jianxing was a good kid, smart and resourceful, and his shooting skills were quite decent. Although he was just a recruit, he had some natural talent in shooting and was improving quickly. However, his only flaw was his tendency to show off and flaunt his wealth, always talking about luxury cars and trips abroad. He often emphasized that his family owned a Mercedes Maybach. Wu Jian patted him and said with high hopes, for the shooting event in this competition, I plan to put your name down. Practice hard. And I'll have Zhou Shangfei bring you 2 boxes of bullets later. 2 boxes? Li Jianxing's eyes nearly popped out as he pleaded, Commander, isn't that a bit too much? With the extra training these days, my shoulder feels like it's about to dislocate. Can we? Wu Jian laughed. If it's about to dislocate, then it hasn't dislocated yet, has it? He smiled and said, these days, you should pause your other projects and focus on this. During the competition, you must bring back a ranking, no matter what. Li Jiayan grimaced, but agreed. Not long after Wu Jian left, Zhou Shangfei approached with 2 boxes. Hearing the clattering sound of bullets inside, Li Jiayan felt a faint ache in his shoulder even before he started shooting. Zhou Shangfei piled the 2 boxes of ammunition next to him and grinned. You're quite something. I noticed your talent back in basic training, but I didn't expect the company commander to value you so much. It's a great honor for a rookie like you to participate in the competition. Li Jiayan responded with a pained expression, Squad leader, please don't laugh at me. Just seeing bullets makes me nauseous, and guns make my shoulder hurt. Zhou Shangfei burst into laughter. Didn't you say that joining the military was all about being able to shoot? Now that you have the chance to shoot as much as you want, you're getting all sensitive? He continued. You should know that Qin Feng would love to shoot, but doesn't even have the opportunity. Hearing this, Li Jiayan's expression brightened. His eyebrows perked up in excitement. That's true. Besides our sharpshooter company, who else gets to shoot this much? Which unit can be as generous as ours? Zhou Shangfei encouraged him. Just remember, when we meet Qin Feng in the competition, you should show him who's boss and help us regain our honor. Don't worry, squad leader. I feel like I'm not the same person anymore. Li Jiayan nodded firmly. Now, even if Qin Feng stands in front of me, I won't back down at all. If we face off again, I promise to send him back home with one shot. Zhou Shangfei laughed heartily. That's the spirit. In the future, you'll be the backbone of our company. Let's work hard to make sure we put that Qin Feng under our feet. Li Jiayan nodded vigorously, his eyes filled with fighting spirit. Ever since he was beaten to a pulp in the last competition, he had set Qin Feng as his target to surpass. He vowed that one day he would empty his magazine at Qin Feng. It was this motivation, combined with intense training, that had led to his significant progress recently. Li Jiayan took the new magazine Zhou Shangfei handed him, slotted it into the rifle, and fixed his sharp gaze on the distant target. At that moment, he imagined the silhouette of the target as Qin Feng and murmured, Brother Feng, when we meet next time, I will definitely defeat you and surprise you. Just then, a sudden roar of an engine caught his attention. A military vehicle rolled in, kicking up dust, and stopped in the empty space behind them. Curious, Li Jiayan and Zhou Shangfei turned to look. They saw two officers in sunglasses and caps, their faces obscured. The one in front wore the insignia of a second lieutenant. Even before seeing his face, one could tell he was quite handsome. The other was a second lieutenant, resembling a short, dark gourd. To their surprise, upon seeing these two, whether it was Li Jiaqing or Zhou Shangfei, both felt an inexplicable familiarity amidst the strangeness. Good day, sir. As the two approached, they quickly stood up and saluted without a second thought. In the military, sir is a respectful term for officers. When encountering a superior, one must stop whatever they are doing and salute. The lieutenant lowered his hat brim slightly and glanced over, then asked in a deep voice, Is this the kid? He looked like someone who enjoyed showing off and flaunting wealth. That's him. Let us take him with us. With that, the lieutenant grabbed Li Jiaqing's shoulder, preparing to drag him to the vehicle. Li Jiaqing was completely bewildered. Sir, what is going on? What did I do wrong? The lieutenant continued in his booming voice. Wrong? Don't you know what you did? Li Jiaqing turned his head in disbelief, looking frantically at Zhou Shangfei. Squad leader, did you report me for watching those movies? You said you wouldn't turn me in if I shared them with you. Don't talk nonsense. Zhou Shangfei's face turned red as he quickly kicked Li Jiaqing to make him shut up. Then, calmly addressing the lieutenant, he asked, Sir, which unit are you from? Why are you here to arrest someone out of nowhere? Li Jiaqing hurriedly asked, Yeah, I haven't done anything wrong. Are you from the inspection team? Or where? Our squad leader knows you're superior. Ha ha. Upon hearing this, the second lieutenant burst into laughter, clutching his stomach. I can't take it anymore. This kid is too funny. Zhou Shangfei was confused, but Li Jiaqing suddenly realized he recognized Zhao Pengfei's voice. Squad leader. You're not a non-commissioned officer anymore. How did you become a second lieutenant? He stared in disbelief at Zhao Pengfei's shoulder, shocked. Zhao Pengfei took off his sunglasses and waved with a smile. Look who this is. As Li Jiaqing shifted his gaze, the lieutenant also lifted his head to remove his sunglasses, revealing a bright smile. Brother Bach, long time no see. Wow. Li Jiaqing was stunned, his legs almost giving way. Qin Feng, when did you become a lieutenant? Chapter 219. Cling to the thigh, you must cling tightly. Wow. No way. It hasn't been long. How did you all become officers? Li Jiaqing's eyes widened in disbelief, feeling as if he were dreaming. They had all come out of basic training together, all became soldiers together. It had only been a few months, and Qin Feng was already a lieutenant. How could he handle this? If Qin Feng had just a non-commissioned officer rank, Li Jiaqing wouldn't have reacted so strongly. He genuinely feared for his brother's hardships and worried he might suddenly drive a luxury vehicle. These two were on the same path, yet their lives felt so uneven. Zhao Pengfei, Qin Feng, you two are so bold to coordinate with the leader's uniforms and play tricks on us here? Zhou Shangfei glared at the two angrily and said, Hurry up and take off those shoulder insignias. If our company commander sees you, and this gets reported to your commander, you're both done for. Coordination? Zhao Pengfei and Qin Feng exchanged glances and immediately smiled, saying, Zhou Shangfei, we didn't come here for coordination. You're kidding. Zhou Shangfei scoffed, rolling his eyes. Do you think I don't know that you two are just pretending? You think I don't remember when I first joined the army as a non-commissioned officer and then got promoted? What have you two done? If you're going to pretend, at least do it convincingly, especially you, Qin Feng. You're just a rookie, and now you're a lieutenant? Who would believe that? As he spoke, he casually tugged at Qin Feng's shoulder insignia. It's just that you didn't run into any serious officers along the way, otherwise. you would have been stopped and received 2 demerits right away. Zhou Shangfei's words suddenly enlightened Li Jiaxing. He recalled having heard that some bold and thick-skinned new recruits would wear the insignias of their squad leaders just to make trips to the convenience store easier. Some even went so far as to wear the insignias of platoon leaders or company commanders when going out during holidays. The purpose was obvious, to show off and impress. If they posted a photo to impress some girls, it would surely attract a lot of attention. Although many people might not understand military hierarchies, the difference between an officer and a regular soldier is still quite clear. It's like someone from a vocational school pretending to be from a prestigious university. Having been through it himself, Li Jiaxing understood well that one's reputation is something one earns. So, when he heard the squad leader say this, he naturally assumed that Qin Feng and Zhao Pengfei had deliberately taken the officer insignias to show off and entertain themselves. Old squad leader, it's one thing for Qin Feng to be young and reckless, but why are you following along with this nonsense? He said. These insignias aren't something you can just wear around. Luckily, the 4th company and your company are brother units. Otherwise, it could cause a lot of trouble. Li Jiaxing straightened up, feeling more confident, and spoke with a tone that reflected a bit of old pride. But the next moment, he received a solid slap on the head from Qin Feng. How dare you talk to me like that? You've got some guts now? Qin Feng scolded. Stand up straight. Why yes, Li Jiaxing stammered, immediately standing up straight, as if on reflex. The moment he realized he couldn't maintain his bravado, he quickly became obedient. Qin Feng and Zhao Pengfei laughed. He was just like the other new recruits, pretending to be tough but quickly falling back in line when challenged. Seeing Qin Feng actually discipline his soldier, Zhou Shangfei was immediately unhappy and angrily pointed at him. Qin Feng, it's one thing for you to act wild on our turf, but how dare you hit my soldier? Let me tell you, don't think that just because your commander has your back in your unit, I won't do anything to you. You believe that if I shout, you two will be carried out today? Is that so? Qin Feng raised his eyebrows and smiled, saying, I don't believe it. Zhao Pengfei grinned widely, clearly very happy. Damn, can't you two be controlled? Indeed, Zhou Shangfei couldn't manage them. The military rule strictly prohibits fighting privately. If caught, it results in punishment and confinement. Especially in today's sensitive environment, making a mistake could mean being kicked out. Originally, Li Jianxing had hoped Zhou Shangfei could keep Qin Feng and the others in check. Unexpectedly, it turned out that the squad leader was the one being overwhelmed by them. At this moment, Company Commander Wu Jian heard the news and came over with the instructor. Upon seeing the company commander and the instructor arrive, Li Jianxing immediately showed a look of relief. Zhou Shangfei also seemed to find support, feeling backed up. He even threatened Qin Feng and Zhao Pengfei, saying, Haha, you're in trouble now that our company commander is here. Even if you wanted to run, it would be too late. I advise you both to be sensible and admit your mistakes later. That way, I might consider saying a few good words for you. Congratulations. Congratulations. At this time, Wu Jian hurried over, cupping his fists and smiling broadly as he approached Qin Feng. Zhou Shangfei and Li Jianxing exchanged bewildered glances, utterly confused. Qin Feng turned around, asking, Company Commander Wu knows about this? Before Wu Jian could speak, the instructor, smiling widely, said, Deputy Company Commander Qin. We just visited the regiment earlier and already learned about your exceptional promotion to Deputy Company Commander. Wu Jian then extended his hand, shaking Qin Feng's firmly. Awesome, Qin Feng. I noticed back in basic training that you were no ordinary soldier, and it seems I was right. In all my time in the military, this is the first time I've heard of such an extraordinary event. You truly are remarkable. He turned to Li Jianxing and Zhou Shangfei, who were still in shock, and snorted. You two didn't just disrespect Deputy Company Commander Qin, did you? Deputy Company Commander Qin? The two were completely dumbfounded. I'm asking you a question. The instructor glared at them. Li Jianxing quickly nodded, while Zhou Shangfei shook his head. The two exchanged panicked glances, unsure of how to respond. Then, Li Jianxing shook his head wildly, while Zhou Shangfei nodded vigorously. Wu Jian, realizing what was happening, approached them and gave each a kick. I knew you two were clueless. As dumb as a mule. Let me tell you, because of their outstanding performance and repeated achievements, Qin Feng and Zhao Pengfei have been promoted to officers by the higher-ups. When the military academy opens, they'll be going there. Currently, Zhao Pengfei holds the position of acting second platoon leader, and Qin Feng is the acting deputy company commander. Acting platoon leader? Acting deputy company commander? Zhou Shangfei stammered, staring incredulously at Zhao Pengfei. It was just a few months ago that they were all in basic training together. Mere ordinary non-commissioned officers. Now, after just a few months apart, Zhao Pengfei had already become a second lieutenant platoon leader. What shocked him the most was Qin Feng, who had made such a leap, directly promoted from a recruit to a lieutenant and deputy company commander. This is faster than taking a high-speed train or a plane. Zhou Shangfei felt like he had wasted years in the military and wanted to team up with Li Jiaxing to dig a hole and bury himself. However, he never expected that at this moment, Li Jiaxing was so excited he was trembling. Like a performer in a face-changing act, he suddenly rushed to Qin Feng's side, fawning excessively. Brother Feng, oh no, Deputy Company Commander Qin. I was just joking with you earlier, please don't be angry. How about you hit me a couple of times? Just kidding, you wouldn't dare. Or maybe scold me. Forget it. I know you can't bring yourself to do that. After all, we're brothers, good brothers who share life and death. Li Jiaxing clung to Qin Feng's arm, acting like a sycophant, showering him with compliments. What a joke. Qin Feng had become a deputy company commander. He had to cling to such a big shot. As his father would say, this is called networking, and it must be seized. Who knows, one day he might follow in Qin Feng's footsteps and land a position himself. Back when they were in the recruit company, he had always followed behind Qin Feng, managing to be one position below him. Now that Qin Feng had become a deputy company commander, shouldn't he be able to bask in some of that glory? Just by boasting about it. He could make others stunned with envy. Li Jiaxing is here, everyone step aside. My brother is a deputy company commander. Do you have one? No? Then go sit at the kids' table. Just thinking about the envious looks from others made Li Jiaxing's heart bloom with joy. He even thought it would be great if he could find a chance to apply for a transfer to the elite unit. After all, that was a top-tier force. And the deputy company commander was his good brother from another mother. Isn't that more promising than staying in the 4th company and shooting targets every day? Seeing this guy being as flexible as ever, Qin Feng almost burst out laughing. He coughed lightly, turned to Wu Jian, and got down to business. Company Commander Wu, I was sent by the regiment commander to find you. Wu Jian nodded. I know, the regiment commander told me about it at noon. He asked us to fully cooperate with you. Whatever you say, we will do. Qin Feng smiled faintly, then patted Li Jiaxing's arm, and said, Li Jiaxing, this time I want you to use your specialty and get back to your old line of work. Specialty? Li Jiaxing looked down. His greatest skill was probably treating others to meals. After all, he truly wasn't short on money. His family not only owned a mine, but also had a Maybach. After a brief chat, it was already dark. Wu Jian enthusiastically invited both Qin Feng and Li Jiaxing to stay for a meal at the 4th Company's cafeteria before leaving. Thinking about the need to visit the 2nd Company later and some important matters to attend to, Qin Feng and Zhao Pengfei didn't decline. Coincidentally, just as they were about to enter the cafeteria, an overwhelming stench came wafting from afar. Everyone instinctively covered their mouths and noses, only to see a young man pedaling a tricycle, puffing and pulling several buckets of slop, coming their way. Surprisingly, the young man pulling the food waste had a captain's insignia with 1 stripe and 3 stars prominently displayed on his shoulder. Chapter 220. The misfortunate Chinibi youth Su Tiankai shouted, Don't block the entrance of the cafeteria with your garbage truck. It stinks. Wu Jian pinched his nose and kicked Su Tiankai. Only then did Su Tiankai grit his teeth and quickly pedal away on his small tricycle. But before leaving, he turned his head and glared at the lieutenant insignia on Qin Feng's shoulder, feeling deeply unwilling. He never imagined that in the blink of an eye, this guy had been promoted to lieutenant and deputy platoon leader? Heaven, this is so unfair. Su Tiankai was filled with indignation, secretly cursing. Qin Feng, if it weren't for stepping on my shoulders, you might never reach this height in your life. A mere lieutenant deputy platoon leader, 1 rank lower than mine. What's there to be proud of? Just wait and see how I perform in the upcoming competition. I can prove myself just as well. Indeed. This time the military competition not only featured various military professional skill contests, but also opened a new category, a professional skills competition for logistics cooking teams. Su Tiankai had already signed up and was waiting to make a stunning debut. Thinking of this, Su Tiankai felt a surge of energy and stood up, pedaling vigorously on his tricycle. However, it broke down within 3 seconds as the chain snapped. Watching from a distance, Su Tiankai squatted on the ground, looking flustered and pulling at his hair. Qin Feng couldn't help but twitch his eye twice, suddenly feeling that this guy was so childish and foolish. 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West, what nonsense. Just ignore him. He's just a pure fool, and we can treat him like air. Yes, if it weren't for the chief of staff forcing him in, we would have kicked him out long ago. The company commander and instructor got angry just mentioning him. Too lazy to even glance at him. Li Jiaxing quickly welcomed Qin Feng and the others into the cafeteria for a meal. He helped serve food and soup, and even got 2 bottles of soda from logistics. He was busy attending to them, making Qin Feng feel truly at home. Overall, the food in the 4th Company was decent, comparable to that of the Steel Blade Company. After a simple meal, Qin Feng and his companion prepared to leave. Seeing Zhao Pengfei in the driver's seat, now Qin Feng's personal driver, Li Jiaxing was once again amazed, leaning against the car window and awkwardly chatting with Qin Feng. Brother Feng, you really don't know? Ever since I joined the company, I dream about you every night. I dream that you're leading us to fight bad guys, to achieve merits, and to enjoy delicious food together. To be honest, I really missed the time in the recruit company. I still remember. Stop. Qin Feng interrupted, not having time to listen to his reminiscing. We still have to go to the second company later. Don't forget your tasks. Tomorrow's your chance to show what you can do. Don't worry, that's my specialty. I'll make sure everything goes smoothly. Li Jiaxun gave an okay gesture. Qin Feng made a sound of acknowledgement, pressed his hand against the other person's face, and pushed his head out. Then he rolled up the car window and said to the squad leader, "Let's go." Zhao Pengfei nodded, lightly pressed the clutch, slowly applied the gas, and gradually accelerated the car away. Deputy Company Commander Qin, old squad leader, feel free to visit the fourth company whenever you have time. Treat it like your own home. Drive slowly on the way, and pay attention to safety. As the car moved further away, Li Jiejun chased after it for a while like he was in a drama, shouting and waving goodbye. Especially the titled Deputy Company Commander Qin, he shouted particularly loudly, as if he wanted everyone in the fourth company to hear it. This action of his indeed had a significant effect. Now, everyone in the Sharpshooter Fourth Company knew that Li Jiejun's good brother was Qin Feng, who had been promoted to the position of Lieutenant Deputy Company Commander due to outstanding achievements. Such a person, who was promoted rapidly because of his merits, was entirely different from the officers who parachuted down after graduating from military academies. Although he was currently just a lieutenant, with those achievements and honor medals, Qin Feng could easily overshadow his peers, and even those below the rank of major had to treat him politely. As Li Jiejun walked back, he held his head high, almost as if his nostrils were reaching for the sky. Li Jiejun, the squad leader wants you to come with me on an official errand to the warehouse to move some things. What did you just call me? Facing a new recruit from his own batch walking towards him, Li Jiejun glared with discontent. Li Jiejun, in front of others, you can call me Li Jiejun. I won't fuss about it. Li Jiejun placed his hands on his hips, puffing out his chest. But privately, he suddenly kicked him hard in the backside. Li Jiejun was sent flying a good distance, and as he turned back to complain, he found Zhou Shangfei glaring at him closely. So you think you've grown some skills? Huh? Acting all tough here? What does Deputy Company Commander Qin's position have to do with you? Do you think you can act like a big shot just because of him? He stepped forward and grabbed Li Jiejun's ear. What's the matter? Do you think our fourth company isn't good enough, and you want to go to the Steel Knife Company to follow Qin Feng? Ow, no, absolutely not. Li Jiejun hurriedly begged for mercy. Squad leader, I was just pretending to act like this to mess with Qin Feng. When I get the chance, I'll take him down to avenge our fourth company. I still remember how he emptied his magazine on me last time. I can't let it go. That's more like it. Zhou Shangfei snorted and finally let go of his ear. Hurry up and get to work. Yes. That kid, Li Jiejun, really hadn't changed at all, still acting all cocky. On the road leaving the fourth company, Zhao Pengfei couldn't help but chuckle. I thought he would be more composed after joining the company, but it seems I was overthinking it. Qin Feng smiled and said, a person's character is formed over many years. It's not easy to change. Zhao Pengfei nodded. That's true. In the fourth squad before, you kept him in check. Now that he is in a broader environment, with no one to control him, plus a bit of talent, he is starting to grow wild. He paused and helplessly said, but that Sioux staff officer is really in a tough spot. The good lieutenant actually went to raise pigs. Qin Feng sighed. I never expected that a 3-kilometer assessment back then would lead to this outcome for him. If you could do it all over again, would you still use the rabbit strategy? Of course. Qin Feng smiled. Sympathy is one thing, but winning is another. Qi Tian Kai's current situation is not due to others, but to himself. This person has some ability, but not much. He is arrogant and overly competitive. If he can't figure out why he has fallen to this state, then his life will probably remain this way. Zhao Pengfei didn't say anything but agreed with his words. Before doing anything, one must first recognize oneself. If it weren't for excessive arrogance, this guy wouldn't have ended up like this. Half an hour later, their vehicle finally arrived outside the second company barracks. However, due to discrepancies in their documents and identities, they were stopped at the gate. Although they had changed their ranks, their documents had yet to be updated. So, they had to call the company commander to arrange for their passage. When the company commander saw Qin Feng and Zhao Pengfei, he enthusiastically complimented them. The regiment commander has already informed me of the specific situation. As long as we can raise everyone's level a bit, our second company will definitely cooperate fully. In short, whatever you say, we will do. Qin Feng nodded. All right, can you help me call out Qi Meng? Upon hearing Qi Meng's name, the company commander's expression suddenly became unnatural. Even the chief of staff beside him looked a bit awkward. What's wrong? Zhao Pengfei sensed something was off. It's just calling a new recruit. It shouldn't be a problem, right? There is no problem with that, but what is going on? Faced with Qin Feng's inquiry, the company commander forced a smile and said, that kid Qi Meng has already been locked up in the confinement room. Chapter 221. Why are you also starting to dig into other people's territory? Wow, beating up veterans? And even 3 at once? Qin Feng and Zhao Pengfei exchanged glances, their faces filled with shock. Zhao Pengfei even directly asked, Company commander, I was in charge of Qi Meng when he was in the recruit company. Although this soldier has practiced martial arts, his personality is actually quite good. He is not that kind of. The company commander waved his hand, sighing helplessly. This matter, strictly speaking, is an accident. After listening to the company commander's explanation, they finally understood what happened. For this strong Army Cup competition, the participants from the second company had already been decided. Since Chi Ming was a new recruit and had previously lost in the confrontation, the veterans didn't give him a chance to compete at all. However, this kid has an inherent stubbornness in him. So, during training, he directly challenged the veterans participating in the combat assessment in front of everyone. A rookie daring to challenge veterans is absolutely not allowed in any military unit. As a result, someone was prepared to teach this arrogant kid a lesson. Unexpectedly, that guy underestimated Chi Ming's combat ability and ended up getting a beating. Moreover, once Chi Ming got into a fight, he became reckless, turning it into a violent brawl. 3 veterans were sent to the medical room after a fight. And due to serious violations of military discipline, Chi Ming was locked in the confinement room. Qin Feng found it quite amusing yet frustrating, while Zhao Pengfei looked helpless. Back then, when Chi Ming sparred with him, he would get more and more excited during the fight. It was only thanks to Qin Feng stepping in that the situation was stabilized. Now that they were off duty, this kid seemed to be running wild. And ordinary veterans truly couldn't handle him. Before long, the two followed the second company commander to the door of the confinement room. There were no windows, so they couldn't see what was happening inside. "Commander, could you please let him go, considering my situation?" Qin Feng took the initiative to plead, which put the second company commander in a bit of a dilemma. He had been confined for 2 days, and it was only 1 day into his punishment. Letting him out now was somewhat against the rules. However, considering Qin Feng's current status and the tasks assigned by the regiment commander, the second company commander and the instructor discussed it and sighed. All right, it's not a big deal. He just needs to recognize his mistakes. After a day, he should have reflected on it. After saying that, the instructor took out the key and opened the door. The confinement room was pitch black, but with the light from the corridor, they could vaguely see a figure in the corner, doing push-ups with his feet up and head down. Upon noticing someone entering, Chi Ming didn't stop his actions. He finished 1,000 push-ups before finally putting his feet down and getting up from the ground. "Chi Ming, guess who has come to see you?" Because he was backlit, Chi Ming initially couldn't recognize who it was. But as they got closer, he saw the faces of Qin Feng and Zhao Pengfei, and he immediately showed a look of surprise and excitement. "Brother Feng, old squad leader, what brings you here? Did you get in trouble too? Wait, aren't you from the Steelblade Company? How come you ended up in the second company's confinement room?" Hearing this, Qin Feng and Zhao Pengfei couldn't help but laugh. The second company commander and the instructor covered their faces with their hands, shaking their heads in silence. They realized this kid was utterly simple-minded and physically strong. Knowing that Chi Ming wasn't as quick-witted as Li Jiaxing, Qin Feng directly took him to the corridor and explained how he and the squad leader had been promoted to officers and the help he would need from him. After hearing this, Chi Ming's brain seemed to freeze for a few seconds, and then he started exclaiming "wow" repeatedly like a parrot. His reaction was expected by the two. Chi Ming was a very pure and straightforward person. He admired strength and respected the strong. Being promoted out of the ordinary already indicated that Qin Feng and Zhao Pengfei were on another level, and he couldn't disagree. "Have you remembered everything I just told you?" Once downstairs, Qin Feng stood by the car and reminded him one last time. Chi Ming nodded vigorously. "Brother Feng, don't worry. This isn't my first time doing this. Just wait and see how I perform." "All right." Qin Feng took out a pack of cigarettes from his pocket and handed him one. "Wow, is this Huazi?" Chi Ming took the cigarette, lit it, and after taking a puff, he said enviously, "Brother Feng, being a deputy company commander really makes a difference. Our company commander only smokes a regular brand." Qin Feng chuckled but didn't he explain anything. Instead, he glanced at the second company commander in the distance and asked, "Are you interested in joining our Steelblade Company?" Cough, cough, cough. Chi Ming choked on the smoke, nearly bringing tears to his eyes. "Brother Feng, did I hear you right? You want to recruit me to your company?" Qin Feng nodded without hesitation. "I just think that if you join us, you'll have better opportunities for development than you do now. Here, you can dominate, taking on 2 or 3 veterans at a time, but in our company, even a regular squad leader could easily take you down. I remember you said that you joined the army to challenge yourself, to wrestle with veterans, right?" Chi Ming scratched his head a bit shyly. "That is true, but the second company commander treats me pretty well, and he just let me out of the confinement room early." Qin Feng, with a cigarette in his mouth, smiled and said, "He didn't let you out. I pleaded for you." "Huh." Chi Ming widened his eyes in surprise, realizing he almost thanked the wrong person. Qin Feng continued, "Chi Ming, the Steelblade Company is a very special unit. In certain situations, close combat and cold weapons can be more important than the use of firearms. You've trained in martial arts and know how to handle various weapons. Joining us will allow you to maximize your potential. Also, I can let you in on a little secret." "What?" "If you stay in the second company, You might never know what it feels like to take down an enemy and have blood splattered on your face. Qi Ming's eyes widened in horror, his voice trembling slightly. You've killed someone? To be precise, I've taken down enemies. Qin Feng replied calmly, exhaling smoke. In peacetime, the only and fastest way to advance on the front lines is to achieve merits through combat. Of course, if you later decide you want to join special forces, that is also possible. If you don't want to just settle for a quiet retirement and want to move up, you need to leave the second company and challenge yourself in a stronger unit. Qi Ming fell silent for a moment, took a deep breath, and said, Brother Feng, I can't answer you right now because the second company still needs me. The company commander has already put my name forward for the combat project. Qin Feng smiled slightly. I didn't expect you to decide right away. You can think about it over the next few days. Whether you come or not won't affect our brotherhood. After saying that, Qin Feng got into the car, and Qi Ming waved him goodbye. It wasn't until the car's taillights disappeared into the night that the second company commander walked over. He glanced at the cigarette butt on the ground, picked it up, and joked, being a deputy company commander really has its perks. Your treatment is much better than mine, smoking fancy brands. Qi Ming. Did Qin Feng just ask you to join the Steelblade Company? Qi Ming wasn't good at lying, and when asked like that, he immediately became uncertain. Sorry, Commander, but I haven't agreed to him yet. Why not agree? Because you have treated me well, the second platoon has also been nice to me. Haha. Looking at the sincere Qi Ming, the second platoon leader laughed heartily. I've locked you in the confinement room, and you still think I'm a nice person? If it weren't for Qin Feng pleading for you just now, I was going to keep you there until tomorrow night. I made a mistake and hit a veteran. So I should be in the confinement room. You didn't do anything wrong, Captain, Qi Ming replied stubbornly, holding on to his beliefs. The second platoon leader took a deep breath, placed a hand on his shoulder, and said earnestly, Qi Ming, for this competition, aim to achieve a good ranking in the fighting events. After it's over, I'll help you apply to join the Steel Knife Platoon. Qi Ming was taken aback, his eyes full of disbelief. Captain, you want to drive me away? The second platoon leader raised a hand to stop him. I knew from the moment Qin Feng came that he wanted to take you away. Although I'm a bit reluctant, one cannot be too selfish. I have to think about your future as well. Qin Feng is a very promising young man. Being promoted at such a young age and starting as a lieutenant deputy platoon leader shows how much he is valued by higher-ups. Following him will give you more opportunities to learn and advance faster. In short, no matter where you go, as long as you remember that you were once a soldier of the second platoon and can bring me a couple of packs of cigarettes during the new year, I'll be satisfied. After saying this, the second platoon leader patted him again and turned to leave, hands behind his back, leaving Qi Ming standing there, somewhat at a loss. Chapter 222. Bad, greedy, and completely foolish. Who are you? What do you want? On the road to the Jinshan Jiao area, a van was speeding through the night. In the back seat, a young man was bound, wearing a black hood, crying and pleading. I'm just a poor student. I have no money. I really have no money. Please let me go. Despite the young man's desperate pleas, the burly men in the vehicle remained expressionless and unmoved. Half an hour later, the sound of a creaking door opening echoed. The vehicle seemed to have entered a certain place, and a pungent odor filled the air. This smell was reminiscent of the waste gas secretly discharged by a chemical factory at night. After a while, it made one feel dizzy and nauseous. With a loud pull, the van door swung open. Two strong men dragged him out of the vehicle as if he were a small chicken. At the same time, they ripped off the black hood from his head. A strong light blinded him, making it impossible to open his eyes. He could only turn his head away and raise his hand to shield himself from the brightness. After some time of blurred vision, the young man finally saw the scene before him clearly. Judging by the architectural style and the color steel tile buildings on both sides, it looked very much like a factory or a warehouse. The young man swallowed hard, suddenly filled with a sense of unease. Human trafficking, organ trading. His face turned pale, and his legs went weak, nearly collapsing to the ground. At that moment, he regretted everything. If he had known, he wouldn't have trusted the job information on that local platform. What a ridiculous situation in the biological research field here. With a starting monthly salary of 50,000 and 30 days of annual leave. Now look where I've ended up. Even if I had wings, I probably couldn't fly out of this place. At that moment, a man in a yellow protective suit and gas mask approached. He removed his mask, revealing a somewhat refined face in his 40s. He picked up a passport and gestured towards the young man. Yu Feihong, from a certain country, 26 years old. Yes, that's you. Please don't kill me. I beg you, don't take my kidney. Yu Feihong thought he was verifying his identity, preparing to send him to a slaughterhouse. So, he knelt on the ground, banging his head against it like a dog, desperately pleading for mercy. The man raised an eyebrow, seemingly surprised that this high-achieving student had so little backbone. He deliberately teased, "Oh, give me a reason not to kill you or take your organs." Grasping at the chance for survival, Yu Feihong exclaimed with excitement, "As long as you don't kill me, I'll do anything." I type fast, I think quickly. I can help you with scams. I was the vice president of the student council at a university in the East and know many wealthy people. I can lure my former classmates here and use their lives to save my own. Seeing Yu Feihong kneeling like a dog, exposing all his dark thoughts and tears, the man chuckled, genuinely amused. He suddenly recalled a saying from a certain university. Those who are righteous often end up as dog butchers, while the heartless are usually scholars. Sometimes, compared to these pure scoundrels, he felt like a savior. Well, it seems you might be of some use after all. All right, get up. Yu Feihong tried to stand, but his legs were as weak as noodles, unable to support him. When two strong men pulled him up, he realized his pants were soaked. The man frowned slightly, showing a hint of disgust, and directed his subordinates. Take him for a shower and change him into clean clothes. Bring him to my office later. Yes, boss. Hearing this, Yu Feihong's heart filled with fear once more. Fortunately, what he had worried about did not happen. This man didn't seem to have any strange preferences. 15 minutes later, Yu Feihong was dressed in local attire and brought into a clean, bright office. As soon as he entered, the foul chemical smell from outside completely vanished. Inside felt like a different world altogether. Have a seat, the man said, pointing to a chair in front of him. However, Yu Feihong was trembling, like a frightened quail, unable to relax. The man spoke in a calm tone. You guessed correctly. I lured you here to Southeast Asia with the promise of a high salary online. But one thing I didn't lie about is that as long as you follow my orders honestly, you will receive 50,000 every month without fail. Yu Feihong paused for a moment, somewhat confused by his meaning. Are you saying this is a scam? Xia Yang laughed and shook his finger, saying, that kind of thing is too low level for me to consider. I know you were a student at a certain university in the East China Sea, but you were expelled for making mistakes. I also know you are the senior member of Professor Zhou's research team and the person who has interacted with him the most. I need you to help me restore his incomplete research. As he spoke, he pushed a folder over. Yu Feihong opened it with some suspicion and immediately understood the situation upon seeing the research project. You want to continue this research to benefit society? Benefit society? Xia Yang's lips curled into a smile. So, in that sense, I am indeed benefiting society. Although Yu Feihong wielded power at school, he had almost zero experience in society. Hearing Xia Yang say this, his tense heart relaxed significantly. He instinctively thought these people were black market pharmaceutical dealers in Southeast Asia. After all, Professor Zhou had mentioned this project when he was researching it, saying that once the drug was released, it would definitely make waves globally. It could even win a Nobel Prize in medicine without any issues. After all, there had never been any effective drugs internationally for treating Alzheimer's disease or neurodegenerative diseases. Therefore, once such a drug appeared on the market, the profits would be unimaginable. However, Yu Feihong hesitated, saying, but this project has been explicitly prohibited by the school. Continuing the research would be a violation of the law. Not long ago, someone from the relevant department approached me and made me sign a commitment letter, forbidding me from disclosing any information about the research. Moreover, the main materials are with Professor Zhou, and my research is not deep enough. Wouldn't it be better for you to go directly to him? Xia Yang shook his head. I don't like dealing with that old man. And I don't need such comprehensive data from him. Based on his papers, I've already had someone study the general idea. Now I just need some details. If you can help me perfect this research, I'll pay you 50,000 a month, and once the product is released, I'll pay you an additional $1 million. Hearing about such money, a strong sense of greed surfaced in Yu Feihong. Originally, if he graduated smoothly, he could successfully enter a big company, earning a salary in the hundreds of thousands or even millions, becoming someone important. But unexpectedly, his bright future was ruined by a group of soldiers. Because he was in a continuous master's and doctoral program, after being expelled, he only received an undergraduate completion certificate. Due to the smear campaign against him, his record bore a stain, making it impossible for him to enter any reputable companies. However, as a top student, he looked down on jobs that paid 3,000 to 4,000 and found them disgraceful. This led him to a deadlock, unable to rise or settle. And he even thought about going abroad to try his luck. Okay, can we sign an employment contract to formalize things? Yu Feihong took out his limited caution and said seriously. Xia Yang was clearly taken aback, looking at him as if he were an idiot. In a place like Jinchuan Corner, signing a work agreement with a major drug lord was quite foolish indeed. Meanwhile, relevant departments in the country also received notification. Not good, Team Leader Zheng. What's wrong? As he watched the suddenly barging in Xiao Lu, Team Leader Zheng put down his teacup. Xiao Lu immediately reported, that young man named Yu Feihong has gone abroad. Where did he go? To a certain country. Team Leader Zheng paused for a moment, shrugged, and said, so what if he went? It's normal for young people to travel abroad. This kid isn't under strict supervision, and he has signed a written guarantee. We can't restrict his freedom like we did with Professor Zhou. Xiao Lu hesitated for a moment, but he is now out of our supervision. Team Leader Zheng pondered for a moment, furrowing his brows as he said, let us do this. Contact the staff over there and have them find out which hotel Yu Fei Hong is staying at to see if everything is normal. This kind of travel usually lasts about a week. If his itinerary is normal and he has a return ticket, there shouldn't be any major issues. Alright, I'll contact them right now. Chapter 223. A familiar entrance method at 8 in the morning. In the training ground of the 402nd Regiment, military transport vehicles gradually arrived. After the vehicles stopped, the elite members of each company quickly jumped down. Subsequently, under the leadership of their company commander, they quickly formed ranks in front of Chief of Staff Sun Quan. A line to the right, look forward. Report. 1234. At ease. Attention. After a few simple commands, Sun Quan stepped aside, and Regiment Commander Chiu Guohai came to the front of everyone. His gaze swept across the crowd as he raised a finger and loudly proclaimed, "There are only 6 days left until the Strong Army Cup competition. In 6 days, you will be on the battlefield. For us soldiers, the competition field is the battlefield. It tests the overall strength of various units and assesses the training results of the soldiers. When the time comes, we will see who is a horse and who is a mule. Mules can go away, but I hope all of you are horses." With not a single mule among you, everyone stared intently at the regiment commander, as they all aspired to be thoroughbreds, with no one wanting to be the foolish mule. Thus, everyone hoped to perform well in the competition to bring glory to their company and regiment. Chiu Guohai continued, to further improve everyone's skills. We will adopt a concentrated training mode over the next 6 days for targeted intensive training here. During these days, aside from eating, drinking, and sleeping, you should focus solely on training hard. As long as you don't train to death, keep pushing yourselves. Whoever can achieve a ranking in the competition and bring glory to our 402nd Regiment will be our hero. Yes, everyone shouted in response to show their determination. Chiu Guohai nodded and concluded, every second counts. Sweat more today to win glory in the competition. Enough talk. Let us start training immediately. Dismissed. After the order was given, the team did not actually disperse. Instead, it was the Chief of Staff who ordered everyone to practice their physical fitness together. Although many of them were participating in different competition events, they still trained together in terms of physical fitness. After all, the majority of events and competitions are based on fundamental physical exercises like pull-ups, sit-ups, and push-ups, which are also the easiest to score points in. Sun Quan shouted, "Before we start formal training, let's do a 5-kilometer warm-up, okay?" Good. Soon, Sun Quan led everyone to run around the barracks. Simply running was not enough. They had to chant slogans while running. Sun Quan shouted, 2 5-kilometers a day. The crowd responded, "Run out a good body. Brothers, put in more effort." After running back, we get chicken legs. 5 kilometers, cure all ailments. If you don't run for a day, you won't feel right. Brothers, give it your all. Run for results. Strive for first place. Strive for first place. The Chief of Staff, like a child being coaxed, engaged in a call and response method, leading everyone to run laps around the camp. This training method may seem a bit silly, but it was actually very effective. On one hand, it motivated everyone's enthusiasm for training, making the 5-kilometer run less monotonous. On the other hand, it increased the soldiers' lung capacity, indirectly raising their physical fitness limits. After completing the 5 kilometers, many were panting heavily, beads of sweat covering their foreheads. The Chief of Staff then instructed each company commander to organize their teams for specialized training. Specialized training meant that soldiers focused intensely on the specific events they had reported. Those throwing grenades would throw them with all their might, and those reporting for the 400-meter obstacle course would push themselves to the limit on the obstacle field. Only in this way could they hope to achieve good rankings in the competition. At this moment, on the platform at the northernmost part of the training ground, Chiu Guohai was supervising the training. However, the more he watched, the more furrowed his brow became. "Old Chiu, can you stop frowning?" The Chief of Staff approached with a water bottle, dripping with sweat. "I could see your 2 eyebrows from afar, looking like you're about to fight. Aren't they training quite well?" Chiu Guohai shook his head and sighed. "Yesterday afternoon, I specifically took time to visit a few other regiments. Seeing how well they train compared to us, I just feel like we're lacking something. Lacking something doesn't mean we're far off. Isn't that just a psychological effect?" Sun Quan glanced at him. "When it's just a little lacking normally, on the competition field, that could mean a world of difference." Chiu Guohai said seriously, "Yesterday, I went to the 705th Regiment. Do you know how they run 3 kilometers? They carry an ammunition box in one hand and a large pot on their back, with lead weights for added burden." Sun Quan's eye twitched. "Are they really that extreme? Aren't they worried about causing injuries and ruining their training?" Chiu Guohai sighed. "Without a bit of madness, you won't achieve greatness. You know how fierce the competition is in the military today. Everyone is pushing themselves to the limit. The incident involving Qin Feng and the promoted officers is a signal released by higher-ups. As long as you have the ability and capability, the rules can be broken at any time. The rewards are there, and the promotion channels are open. It all depends on whether you can seize the opportunity. Sun Quan naturally understands this principle well. Over the years, there hasn't been any exceptional promotions. This time, however, 2 individuals were promoted directly. To say there's no deeper meaning to it. Who would believe that? It's not that they are overanalyzing the higher-ups' thoughts. Rather, the selected individuals are quite strategically chosen. One is a rising star, representing the fresh force of the troops, having made numerous achievements in just 6 months of service, adorned with medals. The other has diligently worked in the military for over a decade, steadily building their career, with 2 third-class merits and 1 second-class merit, along with countless nominations as an excellent soldier and outstanding squad leader. These 2 individuals represent the vast majority of grassroots fighters in the military. Originally, the change of posts and the redistribution of resources were already enough to drive the units mad. Now, right before the competition starts, everyone sees 2 promotion channels, which is why all the units are frantically competing against each other. One can imagine that this competition will be much more intense than before. It could even be described as a bloody battle. By the way, speaking of Qin Feng, why hasn't he arrived yet? Qiu Guohai raised his wrist to check the time. He clearly said he would arrive early yesterday. It's almost 9 o'clock, yet there is still no sign of him? Could it be that he overslept? That shouldn't be possible, right? No, I need to call and ask. There are only a few days left, and he can't let me down. Just as Qiu Guohai was about to take out his phone to call Qin Feng, a military vehicle sped towards them from a distance. It drove straight into the training ground without a second thought, slamming to a halt with a screech that left a long mark on the concrete. The door opened, and a young man wearing sunglasses stepped out from the passenger seat. He took off his sunglasses and waved cheerfully at the 2 men on the stands. Seeing Qin Feng's entrance, Qiu Guohai and Sun Quan exchanged glances, their eyes twitching slightly. Sun Quan chuckled, "Speak of the devil, and he shall appear." Qiu Guohai glanced at the tire marks on the ground with a helpless expression. Why do I feel like this entrance is somewhat familiar? Chapter 224. Damn, this isn't the script we agreed on. Qin Feng, you newly appointed acting vice squad leader. What are you doing here instead of staying in your Steelblade company? I just happened to pass by to take care of some business and thought I'd drop in to learn some experience. You came here to learn experience? Aren't you really just here for a free lunch? Ha ha ha, you caught me, Commander. The food at your regiment's headquarters is way better than ours at the grassroots level. I'm definitely here for that meal. Qin Feng and Qiu Guohai chatted and laughed as they walked towards the training ground. On the field, curious glances were occasionally cast in this direction. Many people here had seen Qin Feng before. To be precise, they had all participated in training under his leadership. Moreover, the news of his exceptional promotion to the position of second lieutenant had already spread throughout the 402nd Regiment. Therefore, his presence was like the most dazzling light bulb on the field. When they saw Qin Feng walking over, not only did everyone continue their training, but they seemed to be energized as if they had been injected with enthusiasm, each one working even harder. It was as if they wanted to prove their recent training results through this effort, showcasing their abilities. At that moment, Qin Feng stopped beside a group of soldiers who were throwing grenades. Among them was Xia Bin, a young man from the western region, who picked up a wooden grenade. Gritting his teeth, he threw it with all his might towards the distance. 56 meters. From afar, a soldier responsible for recording the results planted a small flag on the ground and shouted loudly in this direction. Xia Bin turned back to look at Qin Feng, proudly clapping his hands, feeling very pleased with himself. In the military, a throw of 30 meters is considered qualified, while 50 meters is excellent. Hitting 56 meters was not bad. However, he received only a slight, somewhat dismissive smile from Qin Feng. This kind of smile conveyed many meanings, such as "it's okay," but nothing special. It was far from a compliment, which made those around him quite displeased. Seeing this, Qiu Guohai teased, "What's wrong? Is 56 meters not impressive enough for you?" Qin Feng smiled and replied, "Commander, I didn't mean that. It's just that such a result in our company wouldn't even qualify for the competition. It's truly too ordinary. Cut it out, anyone can boast. Who knows if it's true or not? Or are you just pretending to be cool?" Xia Bin rolled his eyes and spontaneously spat out a sarcastic rap. With someone leading the charge, others quickly joined in their displeasure. Those who came to participate in this training camp were the elite selected from various companies. Although 56 meters wasn't particularly impressive, most in the unit could only throw 30 or 40 meters, with very few reaching 50. Now, with Qin Feng saying they were too ordinary, how could anyone accept that? Seeing some discontent, Qin Feng didn't linger on the matter. He turned to Zhao Pengfei, who nodded and stepped up to grab a grenade, then threw it with force. 67 meters. Upon hearing the shout from afar, the crowd that had just been boasting fell silent. Qin Feng also walked over, casually picked up a wooden grenade from the box, tossed it lightly in his hand as if gauging its weight, and then threw it with all his strength towards the distance. As they watched the grenade describe a high arc in the air, everyone's eyes widened. The grenade landed and bounced twice before a nearby soldier rushed over to plant a small flag on the ground. Then, in disbelief, he turned back and shouted the result. 81 meters. It should be noted that in the military, a grenade throw exceeding 30 meters is considered qualified, while 50 meters is deemed excellent. Reaching 60 meters is absolutely outstanding in the military. If one can throw it to 70 meters, they might even receive an award from higher-ups. As for Qin Feng's level, getting a third-class merit is a piece of cake. Once, someone from the 402nd Regiment threw a grenade 793 meters and received a third-class merit for it. However, that person has already retired, and no one in the regiment has surpassed that achievement since. At this moment, everyone on site felt a burning sensation on their faces, as if they had been slapped twice. Qin Feng clapped his hands and looked at the overly dramatic expression of Xie Bin, saying lightly, "It's okay, practice more. Find a feeling. Just because you can recite a catchy phrase doesn't mean you can throw well. Commander, I think your soldier still has a lot of room for improvement. He needs to work harder." This statement seemed encouraging, but was actually a blatant mockery. Moreover, Qin Feng was just a new recruit who had joined the army for about 6 months. The degree of this mockery was almost overwhelming, and it indeed stung everyone present. Seeing that his goal was achieved, Qin Feng said nothing further and turned to leave. Before he left, Xie Bin winked at him quietly. Qin Feng smiled back, acknowledging his performance. Then, accompanied by Qiu Guohai, Qin Feng went to the training area for combat. At this moment, about 20 people were in groups of 3, hitting the sandbags with loud thuds. Upon seeing Qin Feng arrive, Qi Ming hit the sandbag even harder. Each punch and kick seemed infused with a strong sense of provocation. The others, influenced by Qi Ming, were also putting in a lot of effort. They weren't trying to showcase their strength. Rather, some of them were unhappy with Qin Feng. This guy was not only handsome, but also had received numerous accolades. He had been promoted to an officer just 6 months after enlisting, achieving what many would never reach in their lifetimes. Therefore, some who didn't understand the actual situation felt that Qin Feng's record was heavily inflated. However, considering Qin Feng's current status, things were different now. Thus, the sandbags in front of them became tools for venting their dissatisfaction and silent protest. Deputy Company Commander Qin, you missed a couple of throws earlier. Could you give us some pointers? This time Qiu Guohai didn't speak, but the chief of staff smiled and said something. Qin Feng replied nonchalantly, "As for pointers, I don't think there's much to say." "Oh," Sun Quan laughed. "You really can't find any faults?" "It's not that. I just don't know where to start. There are problems and flaws everywhere, so I don't want to waste time." Initially, Qin Feng's words made them feel a bit smug, but the next sentence was a direct slap in the face. Problems everywhere? Flaws everywhere? Don't want to waste time? Who do you think you are? At this moment, everyone present stopped. A wave of hostility and unexplainable anger surged from each person. Being provoked while boxing heightened this anger more than at any other time. Although Qin Feng was now a lieutenant officer, he was not their direct superior, so he had no right to point fingers at them. "Deputy Company Commander Qin, what did you just say?" Qi Ming dug at his ear and sneered as he stepped forward. "You said there are problems and flaws everywhere? I want to know which eye of yours saw that. Just spewing nonsense? Additionally, I'm curious about how your steel knife company trains. Do you guys just run around swinging machetes like thugs? Enough." As soon as he finished speaking, Sun Quan reprimanded him. "New recruit, watch your attitude when speaking to your superiors. Although he was your comrade during your recruit training, now he is the deputy commander of the Steel Knife Company. Have you forgotten how to recite the regulations? Don't you know how to speak to your superiors, huh? Chief of Staff, whatever punishment you impose, I accept. But I absolutely won't tolerate outsiders looking down on us." Qi Ming's words were powerful, and the anger in his eyes was evident. The atmosphere on site was instantly stirred up by him, and the anger was gradually building. "Chief of Staff, please allow me to have a one-on-one with him. I want to see who really has flaws all over." Qi Ming suddenly took off his hat, angrily pointing at Qin Feng, the veins on his forehead bulging. Sun Quan feigned difficulty as he looked at Qin Feng. "Qin Feng, you're making quite a big joke here. Look at how this situation has escalated." Qin Feng smiled. "Let my soldier have a match with you, and let you see what real fighting skills look like." Wu Jin stepped forward, smiling as he looked at Qi Ming. Upon seeing Wu Jin's demeanor, Qi Ming knew this guy was a master. He cracked his neck, feeling the desire to fight rising within him. Sun Quan acted as the referee, saying from the side, "Then, let us have a simple spar, just a friendly exchange. Don't worry, Chief of Staff. I promise I won't hurt him." Qi Ming moved his arms around, a somewhat arrogant smile on his face. The others generally recognized Qi Ming's strength. News had spread that he single-handedly took on 3 veterans a few days ago. Most people in the 402nd Regiment now knew that there was a tough guy in the 2nd Company, and he had martial arts training. Qi Ming stepped forward with his left foot, raising his right hand like drawing a bow, assuming the stance of Bejiquan. At the same time, Wu Jin mirrored his stance perfectly. Qi Ming's eyes widened in shock, nearly dumbfounded. How come everyone knows Bejiquan? Is it so common and worthless now? At that moment, a roar snapped Qi Ming back to his senses. Seeing the speed of the charge from across, he was startled and instinctively dodged to the left. However, unexpectedly, Wu Jin didn't actually use Taishanko. He merely shouted and charged forward. Just as Qi Ming realized he had been tricked, 2 fingers came swiftly toward his eyes. He cursed inwardly for being despicable and quickly closed his eyes, raising his hand to block. But Wu Jin, with a wicked smile, aimed a kick at his vulnerable spot. Gasp! The crowd instantly inhaled sharply, feeling a sense of disaster unfolding. Qi Ming let out a terrible scream, clutching his legs, his face turning bright red. It was clear that he had been kicked hard. But right after that, Wu Jin landed a punch on his face. Then, he delivered a heavy kick to his chest, sending Qi Ming flying 3 to 4 meters away, rolling on the ground several times before coming to a stop. At that moment, Qi Ming was holding his groin, legs crossed, rolling on the ground in pain, cursing inwardly. What the heck? This is nothing like the script. It's too insidious, way too insidious. Chapter 225, Collective Abstention. No more fighting. Damn it. Qi Ming slapped the ground and struggled to get up. He rubbed his sensitive area and, feeling defiant, charged forward again. This time, Wu Jin was just as ruthless, employing simple and quick attacks aimed directly at vital points. His targets were either the jaw, the throat, or the groin. All of this was learned from the Special Forces during the previous grueling week. The combat style of the Special Forces is different from regular units. While conventional troops focus on skills to defeat the enemy, the Special Forces learn to kill. There are no flashy moves, just direct strikes to vital points. With strong close combat techniques, and having learned the advantages of special operations, their skills naturally improved. Initially, Qi Ming still had some elements of performance in his approach. After all, the task assigned by Qin Feng was to cooperate in acting out a scene. However, as the fight progressed, he realized he was genuinely unable to match Wu Jin. Moreover, he felt that this guy's fighting style had a resemblance to Zhao Pengfei's. Before long, Qi Ming was completely defeated by Wu Jin and was helped back. Who else wants to give it a try? Wu Jin looked at the others, appearing as if he hadn't had enough yet. But after witnessing his ruthless strikes, no one dared to step up to make a fool of themselves. Qin Feng approached and patted Wu Jin on the shoulder, prompting Wu Jin to step aside. Now do you know where the problem lies? Fighting is fundamentally a comprehensive skill aimed at defeating the enemy. Without that kind of ruthlessness, just thinking about how to show off, what is the use? You should practice real combat, focusing on how to take someone down in one move, rather than just hitting cold, hard sandbags. After saying this, Qin Feng left amidst the resentful gazes of the crowd and went to the other side. As before, he randomly picked a few easy targets and launched a series of attacks on them. His purpose in doing this was never to show off or humiliate anyone. It was simply to let everyone directly feel the gap in their abilities. To put it simply, when a person works in a unit where everyone earns 3,000 to 4,000 a month, it's hard for them to step out of their comfort zone and they may feel quite good about themselves. But if suddenly some people earning 30,000 to 40,000 appear, it breaks the existing balance. This creates a strong sense of crisis and a significant psychological gap. Such a sense of crisis compels people to grit their teeth and move forward. For conventional troops, the biggest obstacle to training is actually themselves. Any external force is deceptive. The only effective way is to inspire them to push forward from within. At this moment, Qin Feng had arrived at the shooting range on the north side of the training ground. The process was the same as usual, and the routine was quite cliched. It was nothing more than the typical show-off and face-slapping tropes found in many urban fiction stories, playing the fool to catch the tiger. However, to be fair, this approach works quite well in reality to draw attention. It's no wonder that so many people criticize these stories as brainless, yet still follow them avidly. At this point, Qin Feng approached a familiar face. Li Jiaxing had just finished a round. With 15 bullets, he hit the 10 ring 12 times, a rather impressive performance. After standing up, he shot Qin Feng a provocatively smug look. Following the script, Qin Feng casually picked up a sniper rifle amidst the crowd's skepticism. He aimed at a distant target and pulled the trigger. However, his first shot only hit an 8 ring. This immediately drew a round of ridicule from the onlookers. What a show. Is that it? I thought he was great. Turns out he's just average? With that shooting skill, he wouldn't even qualify to clean the floors in our squad. Qin Feng frowned slightly, looking at the sniper rifle in his hands. This gun has some issues. Whose is this? Report, it's mine. Came a loud voice from a cocky new recruit in the crowd. Qin Feng approached him and asked, "Why is the trajectory of your gun skewed to the left?" Report, it's purely a personal habit. The recruit answered confidently. Upon hearing this, even Qiu Guohai and Sun Quan, who were nearby, frowned. Sun Quan said sternly, "Every gun should adhere to standard parameters. What you're doing is a violation of discipline, do you understand?" The recruit stood tall and replied unabashedly, "Report, Chief of Staff. I believe there is nothing wrong with my modification. On the battlefield, if I unfortunately die, I don't want the enemy to pick up my gun and use it directly. I definitely don't want to see them using my gun to harm my comrades. At first glance, the recruit's words seemed valid, but upon closer inspection, they were flawed. Qin Feng raised an eyebrow and asked, how can you guarantee that after you sacrifice yourself on the battlefield, your comrades won't pick up your gun to fight the enemy? What if your comrade's gun malfunctions and needs parts from your gun? Isn't your action indirectly contributing to murder? The recruit was momentarily speechless, and his expression became a bit awkward. Qin Feng patted him on the shoulder. Stop being clever, watch fewer dramas, and think more. After saying that, he turned back and fired several shots at the distant target again. This time, Qin Feng deliberately shifted the gun's muzzle slightly to the right. As he saw each bullet hit the 10 ring, the scorekeeper immediately reported the results. To achieve such a score with a gun that had a leftward trajectory was truly embarrassing for everyone present. Although there were many sharpshooters in the squad, most could only hit the 10 ring with the majority of their shots. But having them use such unconventional weapons and achieve these results without any adjustments is quite challenging. Qin Feng tossed the gun to the soldier from earlier, glanced at Li Jiaxing, said nothing, and turned to leave. He didn't linger at the training ground any longer, nor did he watch the training of others. Instead, he put on his sunglasses and returned to the vehicle. Leaning his elbow against the car window, Qin Feng took a piece of gum from his pocket and popped it into his mouth. Chewing the gum, he smiled and said in a slightly arrogant tone, I'm leaving, Commander. I won't be dining here today. I reckon the food in your canteen is probably average. Immediately after, Zhao Pengfei stepped on the gas, causing the vehicle to roar provocatively. After drawing everyone's angry stares, he turned the car around, spewing black smoke as he drove off. Seeing the car disappear into the distance, Qiu Guohai's expression was as stiff as wax. Damn, this kid really deserves a beating today. I wonder where he learned such behavior. Yeah, even I want to give him a kick and a couple of slaps. Sun Quan said, suppressing his anger. Let us go. It's time to gather the troops. Yes, Qin Feng has set the stage for us. The main event is yet to come. After Qin Feng left, Qiu Guohai immediately ordered the troops to assemble. The assembly whistle blew, and everyone stopped their training, rushing to the observation platform to gather. At that moment, Qiu Guohai made an unexpected move. He pulled out all the flags of the various companies that were stuck in the railing. Then, he threw the flags on the ground like trash, furiously shouting at everyone. You messed it up, what a disgrace. Why are you still practicing? Why participate in competitions? You've embarrassed me today. Disband, everyone disband. The upcoming training is cancelled. Go back home, find your mothers. Our team will forfeit this competition. We're not participating. Everyone's faces turned red, clenching their fists tightly, their anger and frustration boiling over. Chapter 226. The military's ghostly worries. Even dogs shake their heads. Cowardly soldiers, useless troops. You can't even withstand a confrontation. Your basic training is like mud, trampled underfoot. Shame, shame. What kind of elite are you? Why participate in competitions? You are all a disgrace to the 402nd Regiment. Seeing that everyone stood their ground and refused to leave, Qiu Guohai erupted in anger once more. Li Jiaxing shouted loudly from the ranks, report. We will definitely win against them and regain our lost pride on the competition field. As soon as he finished, Qiu Guohai appeared in front of him, spitting angrily. What will you use to win against them? How will you regain your pride? With just words, huh? His last words were like a dragoness roar, splattering Li Jiaxing with saliva. But Li Jiaxing seemed to have made a resolution, shouting just as loudly, dare to fight, dare to win. Dare to fight, dare to win. Dare to fight, dare to win. As soon as he finished speaking, Qi Ming and Xie Bin in the crowd joined in, shouting those 4 words together several times. Soon, everyone present was roaring with anger. The overwhelming momentum allowed Qiu Guohai to see their determination at that moment. He continued to angrily point at everyone, as if he were both furious and amused, and scolded them. All right, this is what you said, dare to fight and must win, then I'll be watching. There are 6 days left until the competition begins. If you can't achieve good results and end up being trampled underfoot, then just throw those words into a latrine and let them stink with the filth. Chief of Staff, Qiu Guohai turned to Sun Quan, who was in a daze nearby, and shouted, what the hell are you spacing out for? Disband them and send them back to their old units. Yes, yes, yes. Sun Quan hurriedly stepped forward and yelled at everyone. All personnel, stand down. But before he could finish, someone in the crowd spoke up again. Report, Chief of Staff. We're not going back. We want to train here. Chief of Staff, we want to regain the dignity we lost. Commander, let us stay for training. As long as we don't collapse in the last 6 days, we'll train to the death. We won't let you down, nor will we let the regiment down. The voices in the crowd grew louder, with everyone shouting passionately. They had suffered too much and felt too oppressed during this time. First, they were constantly bullied by the Steel Blade Company, losing face. Then, their funding dwindled, and more brothers left their side. Finally, they looked forward to a competition, wanting to seize the opportunity to turn things around. Yet, They faced provocation even during training, and even the commander was furious. They were all hot-blooded men. Who could endure when others were bullying them so blatantly? Seeing the atmosphere intensifying, Qiu Guohai knew that everyone's competitive spirit had been completely ignited. He pointed at everyone and continued to shout angrily. All right, you said this yourselves. I want to see what kind of results you can achieve in the last 6 days. After saying that, he snorted and turned to leave. As he was leaving, he deliberately followed Qin Feng's instructions, rubbing his arm across his face a couple of times, pretending to look deeply wronged. This inconspicuous little gesture, however, amplified the anger in everyone's hearts. Li Jiaxing, as a master at stoking the flames, once again played his part. Brothers, in the last 6 days, let us shed skin and flesh, but not tears. For the commander, for the 402nd Regiment, let us go all out. All right, continue training, train to the death. The team dispersed to various spots. Whether it was running obstacles, throwing grenades, or practicing combat, everyone seemed to be pumped up, channeling all their anger into training. At this moment, no one complained, no one shouted tiredness. Everyone just wanted to regain their lost dignity, aiming to give the commander a sense of pride on the competition field. At this moment, Qiu Guohai had already returned to the office upstairs. He was hiding behind the window, like a peeping Tom, using binoculars to observe the training of everyone on the field. While watching, he grinned widely, letting out a mischievous chuckle. Sun Quan brewed a cup of tea, turned his head, and jokingly asked, "So, do you still feel like something's missing?" Not anymore, not anymore. Qiu Guohai put down the binoculars and laughed heartily. Now everyone is filled with determination, charging forward with all their might. If we keep practicing with this momentum, the gains in these 6 days will definitely be greater than a month's usual training. He really didn't expect that this kid, Qin Feng, could be so capable. His tactic of retreating to advance and fanning the flames truly works wonders. Sun Quan shook his head. This tactic isn't original to Qin Feng. Huh. Qiu Guohai was taken aback. If it's not his original idea, then whose is it? Old Qiu, you can't be serious. Haven't you ever watched Special Forces 1? What's that? It's a drama from 2011. It was super popular when it first came out. Even now, many young people join the army after watching this show. Haven't you heard of it? I've only seen Soldier Assault. Everything else is nonsense. Sun Quan awkwardly scratched his nose, unsure of how to respond. Soldier Assault, as a classic, indeed holds an irreplaceable position. The military dramas that came later were mostly about confusing love stories, especially Special Forces 3, by the end. It turned into a low-budget film with all sorts of skin exposure. He had repeatedly watched the scene with female commandos in swimsuits on the beach, criticizing it each time. Watching it once and cursing it every time was just ridiculous. Meanwhile, outside the training ground of the regiment headquarters, a military vehicle was parked. Inside the vehicle, Qin Feng and his 2 companions were smoking, listening carefully to the sounds from inside the walls. Although they couldn't see, the shouts from inside, which were more than double what they had heard before, still made them smile. It seemed they had indeed been stimulated, which showed that their efforts weren't in vain. Sigh. They probably hate us to the core now. Squad leader, do you think we were a bit too harsh today? We almost left their faces swollen. Hearing the conversation between Zhao Pengfei and Wu Jin, Qin Feng exhaled a puff of smoke and replied calmly. Let them hate us. As long as we know in our hearts that we are helping them, that's enough. It's not easy for the 402nd Regiment to make it this far. If we can't achieve good results in this competition, we might really be at the end of the road. After all, we all came from the regiment. Even if we are misunderstood, we have to swallow our grievances. The 2 nodded silently, but they still felt a bit guilty. Well, we can only find opportunities to make up for it later. Qin Feng said lightly. All right, the task is done. We should head back. We need to put in more effort in the next few days. Okay. After saying that, Zhao Pengfei flicked the cigarette but out of the window and rolled it up. Just as he was about to start the vehicle, someone knocked on the window twice. He turned his head and saw 2 cold faces appearing outside the window. One person was holding a notebook, while the other had a camera hanging from their neck, glaring at them with an unfriendly expression. The 2 were the White Hat inspectors, notorious in the military for making even the bravest shiver. Qin Feng and his companions exchanged glances, suddenly feeling an ominous sense. Turn off the engine and get out of the car, the White Hat said coldly. Zhao Pengfei leaned out, forcing a smile. Sorry, we'll move the car right away. The inspector, with sharp eyes and a tone devoid of emotion, replied, Comrade, please turn off the engine and get out of the car immediately, and present your documents for inspection. Chapter 227. Take first place. Take first place. Still damn first place you 2 or something. You encounter inspectors, and instead of getting out of the car, you speed off? Especially you, Zhao Pengfei. Now that you're a squad leader, you think you're so impressive, huh? How dare you even ask them if they know which unit you're from and who your commander is? Are you afraid they don't know our Steel Knife Company? Or how to write my name, Gu Xiong? In the Steel Knife Company office, Gu Xiong kicked Zhao Pengfei and Wu Jin each as they left. If the inspection team hadn't called him about this, he wouldn't have even known it happened. You think you can just run away? And your license plate number got captured on camera? Luckily, Lao Fan used to be with the inspectors and has connections in the team. Otherwise, this would at least result in a formal reprimand. Ge Xiong, as the company commander, might even have to go to the division leader to explain himself. Wu Jin glanced at the sofa beside him, feeling a bit aggrieved, and said, "Commander, why are you only punishing us too? It was the three of us who ran away together." Cough, cough. Qin Feng, who was drinking tea on the sofa, almost choked. He shot a glare at Wu Jin and then smiled at Ge Xiong, saying, "Commander, I already seriously criticized them on the way back. They've realized their mistakes and decided to turn over a new leaf. How about each of them writes a 1,000-word self-criticism? I don't think they did it on purpose." Nonsense. Of course, we didn't do it on purpose. At that time, if you hadn't nodded in agreement, Zhao Pengfei wouldn't have dared to speed off. Wu Jin sulked, "Huh? Write a self-criticism? I haven't even finished my lesson plan yet." Ge Xiong suddenly raised his voice. "What do you mean, huh? If it weren't for the deputy commander pleading for you, I would have sent you straight to the confinement room. Hurry up and get lost. And make sure your self-criticism is on my desk by tomorrow morning. Especially you, Zhao Pengfei. Don't think that just because you're a squad leader now, you can act all high and mighty." As he spoke, he kicked Wu Jin again. Wu Jin felt so wronged, he was about to sit on the floor and cry. They were officers, and yet it seemed like they were just picking on him, a mere soldier. After the two left the office and closed the door, Ge Xiong dumped the ash from the ashtray into the trash can by his feet. Then he pulled out a Yushi cigarette and tossed one to Qin Feng before taking one for himself. He then started searching for a lighter as if he had fleas all over him. "Hey, where's my lighter?" Qin Feng paused for a moment and instinctively tossed his lighter over. Ge Xiong lit his cigarette, opened the drawer, and casually pushed the lighter aside. The whole sequence of actions was smooth and seamless, clearly indicating he was experienced at this. Qin Feng stared wide-eyed, just about to ask for his lighter back, when Ge Xiong suddenly spoke up, still holding his cigarette. "Qin Feng, how did things go at the regiment this morning? Did everything go smoothly without any issues?" "It went pretty well. Commander Chiu is quite the performer. He acted convincingly. Everyone's competitive spirit has been ignited. And there should be some progress over the next 6 days." Ge Xiong flicked off some ash from his cigarette and nodded. "That's good. We're all on the same team. Sometimes we need to help each other out." Qin Feng caught the deeper meaning in his words. "Squad leader, you're not suggesting that." Ge Xiong looked at him. "Even though we've become independent, we are still family. In past competitions, our steel knife company had the most participants and was a main force in the regiment. Now that we're not there, relying solely on them for the final group assessment might make it difficult to achieve a good ranking. There are many events in the competition, covering a wide range of skills. From basic physical fitness and specialized military skills to tactical movements, it can be said to encompass a variety of tests. Most of these events assess individual overall strength. Besides that, there are also some group events, such as tug of war, comprehensive combat, and relay races, among others. The specific assessment content is currently unknown, but it is known that group event scores usually carry more weight than individual ones. After all, the concept of unity is always the main theme in the military. No matter how strong an individual is, they can't compare to a whole team. This time, our company has a total of 17 slots. Ge Xiong looked at Qin Feng seriously and said, "I won't participate this time. I'll just cheer you on. This time I want you to lead the team and show your face." Qin Feng had anticipated this. "All right, then please sign me up." Ge Xiong held his cigarette with his mouth and opened a notebook. "Besides the mandatory group events, what else do you plan to sign up for? Speed shooting, combat, grenade throwing, 3-kilometer run, or 400-meter obstacle course?" Qin Feng thought for a moment and curiously asked, "Can I only choose one?" Ge Xiong shook his head. "Not necessarily. Last year, some people signed up for 2 events. However, I recommend a maximum of 2. Otherwise, it will consume too much energy, especially with a lot of group events to assess." Qin Feng considered it and said, "How about this? As long as there are no time conflicts, sign me up for everything I can. My biggest habit is that I don't pick and choose." Ge Xiong looked up in shock, pinching his cigarette and flicking off the ash again. "Are you joking, or are you serious? Can you handle that much? What if you end up exhausted after 2 or 3 events?" Qin Feng smiled and replied, "Squad leader, don't you know me? When have I ever tried to show off? Besides, events like grenade throwing and pull-ups are easy. Isn't the assessment just like playing around? Perhaps after a day's practice. The training volume is still greater than when we followed the Thunder Leopard during the Devil Week." Well, while that is true, isn't it a bit overconfident? Ge Xiong still had some hesitation. Although he knew Qin Feng had good physical fitness and was like a young bull, the purpose of the competition was to achieve results. Spreading oneself too thin was not a wise choice. Moreover, this time's results were crucial for future development, so he had to be more cautious. However, Qin Feng provided his reasoning. "Commander, I'm not trying to show off. I need a stage to prove my strength and to be worthy of my current position. Regarding my promotion to lieutenant, while those of us internally recognize my capabilities, many others are skeptical. As a member of the Steel Knife Company, I don't want my personal reasons to bring any rumors to our unit, so I must demonstrate some real strength. The more projects I participate in and the more achievements I earn, the sooner those rumors will dissipate. Gu Xiong suddenly understood, since that was the purpose. He couldn't say much more. After all, when he and the instructor attended meetings at the division, they indeed heard some gossip. While you could ignore it, too much rumor was ultimately not a good thing. Therefore, considering the long-term impact, it was best to resolve it sooner rather than later. What you said makes sense. The more honors you have, the greater the controversy. To solidify this deputy company commander position and to break some stereotypes, you indeed need to demonstrate some skills to silence the critics. Here's what we'll do. I'll look into which assessments conflict with your schedule and help you prioritize the ones you excel at. Great. 6 days passed in the blink of an eye. During this time, the Steel Knife Company was also training day and night. All outings, breaks, and even the news broadcasts were temporarily canceled. It was all about training, with everyone striving toward a single goal. That day at 5 in the morning, a sudden urgent whistle echoed from downstairs. The soldiers participating in the competition quickly grabbed their gear and rushed downstairs to assemble. Zhao Pengfei, Wu Jin, Tang Lei, and others formed 2 teams and stood ready. Qin Feng scanned their faces. No need for small talk. The competition is about to begin, and I have only one requirement for you. First place, and once again, first place. Yes. The roar of the crowd reverberated through the barracks, shaking the skies. Qin Feng didn't waste time, pointing to the transport vehicle beside him. Everyone, get on the vehicle. Once on board, rest up and move quickly. Wait for me. I'm coming too. Don't forget me. Everyone turned around to see Qin Sanshi running over from the direction of the cafeteria, carrying a large black pot and a bag, hurrying toward them. The competition is about to start. Friends who want to watch, feel free to send some free gifts. Encourage updates and leave comments. Your support is the motivation for the author to keep updating. Chapter 228. Is he here to compete, or just to collect stamps? Arriving at the destination, Qin Feng jumped out of the vehicle and gave the door a solid pat. In the truck bed, the soldiers who had been dozing off immediately opened their eyes wide. We're here so soon? I was hoping to catch a bit more sleep. The competition venue was at the training department within the division. How far did they think they could run? Enough chatter, get off the vehicle quickly. Under the urging of squad leader Zhao Pengfei, everyone jumped down in 2s and 3s. The last to get down was Qin Sanshi, moving slowly like a big turtle. The logistics cooking class assessment required them to bring their own tools, so he had to carry that large black pot everywhere he went, which looked quite comical. At this moment, quite a few people had already arrived, making the scene bustling like a large market. Several participating teams were still trickling in. There were so many people. Qin Sanshi looked around with wide eyes, as if he were a country bumpkin entering a grand garden, his eyes sparkling like light bulbs. The martial arts competition wouldn't start for a while, so Qin Feng suggested everyone familiarize themselves with the venue first while he went to the registration desk to check in and collect their number tags. For most people, military competitions felt quite unfamiliar, but in simple terms, it wasn't much different from a school sports day, just with some additional military skills involved. Since Zhao Pengfei had participated before, he didn't bother to check out the venue ahead of time. Instead, he took Qin Feng to the registration desk as an experienced guide. On the way there, someone shouted at them, "Brother Feng, old squad leader." Hearing the familiar voice, they both turned around and immediately smiled. Not far away, under the shade of a tree, Qi Ming and Li Jiaxing were waving at them with smiles. As Qin Feng approached, he noticed their skin was darker and they looked leaner, but their eyes were sharper. And their overall spirit was noticeably different from just a week ago. It seemed the previous training had been quite effective. You guys arrived pretty early, huh? Qin Feng asked with a smile. Brother Feng, we set off in the middle of the night, Qi Ming replied. Li Jiaxing added with a grin. We've already familiarized ourselves with the venue several times. Our company commander said, to do a good job, one must sharpen their tools first. Qin Feng laughed heartily. Looks like you guys have done a thorough job preparing. What place are you aiming for? Of course. Li Jiaxing puffed out his chest proudly. This time, we're aiming for first place. Huh? You guys from the 402nd Regiment think you can take first? Dream on. At that moment, an unpleasant voice suddenly interrupted. Qin Feng frowned and turned to look at the speaker, but unfortunately, he didn't recognize the captain or the non-commissioned officers behind him. Who doesn't know that the 402nd Regiment ranks low in strength? Just try hard enough not to come in last. The captain continued, you want to compete for first? You'd better not laugh so hard you lose your teeth. The first place for both individual and team competitions this time has already been secured by our 705th Regiment. Faced with such a blatant provocation, Li Jiaxing and Qi Ming immediately felt anger rising. Just as they were about to lash out, they were stopped by Zhao Pengfei. Causing trouble in a place like this could not only lead to disqualification from the competition, but could also leave a very bad impression on the judges regarding the entire team, affecting their overall performance. Moreover, this guy was a captain. Even if they wanted to retort, they had to find someone of similar rank to do so. Is your 705th Regiment really that impressive? Qin Feng asked the captain, curious. The captain named Xia Yuan seemed amused by his words and replied, Comrade, you must have just graduated from military school and been assigned here, right? In the 33rd Division. Who doesn't know the name of our 705th Armored Infantry Regiment? Whether in past drills or competitions, our regiment has always been among the best. Oh, Qin Feng responded, realizing that they were quite formidable, which explained their confidence. He smiled and said, that was then, this is now. You might not secure first place in this competition. Xia Yuan looked Qin Feng up and down, thinking he was a deputy company commander from the 402nd Regiment. With a hint of sarcasm, he asked, even if we don't get first place, do you think your 402nd Regiment will? Qin Feng shook his head. The 402nd Regiment won't get first place either. Hearing this, the captain was momentarily stunned. Li Jiaxing and Qi Ming also felt confused. After all this, was Qin Feng not planning to back them up? Qin Feng smiled and said, in this competition, there will only be one individual first place and one team first place, and that will be our Steel Blade Company. Steel Blade Company? Xia Yuan seemed to realize something and looked at him suspiciously. Are you the acting deputy company commander, Qin Feng? Qin Feng smiled shyly. You've heard of my story? Looking at his exceptionally young face, Xia Yuan sneered. Oh, I thought you were someone else. Turns out you were the lucky rookie who rose to fame overnight. He tugged at Qin Feng's shoulder insignia, showing no regard for him. I wonder how much merit those shoulder straps actually represent. Half a year in the army and you've been promoted to deputy company commander. You really are impressive. Upon hearing this, the soldiers behind him burst into laughter. They looked at Qin Feng as if he were a monkey. Even though Qin Feng had the rank of lieutenant, in their eyes, he was still just a rookie. Despite Xia Yuan's rudeness, Qin Feng showed no signs of displeasure. Instead, he smiled and said, when we get to the competition, you can see for yourself how things really are. Xia Yuan seemed taken aback that this young man, not yet 20, could remain so composed. This only made him appear unreasonable and of poor character. He snorted, fine, we'll see you on the competition field. I'll show you what a real officer is capable of. With that, Xia Yuan led his team to the registration area. Once they left, Li Jiaxing and Qi Ming immediately gathered around, expressing their indignation. Hey, this guy is so arrogant and speaks so harshly. Aren't you angry? Why should I be angry? Qin Feng shrugged. If he looks down on me, then he will definitely suffer greatly on the field. I should be happy about it. Upon hearing this, even Zhao Pengfei couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Staying low-key in life, but high-profile in work, Qin Feng remained as steady as ever. Many times, a slap in the face is more effective than 1,000 rebuttals. Alright, let's stop chatting here and hurry to sign in. Yeah. Qin Feng and Zhao Pengfei quickly arrived at the sign-in area. The so-called sign-in area was a tent temporarily set up by the playground. Inside, several staff members wearing red armbands were responsible for registering and distributing competition numbers. Qin Feng held the personnel information sheet and carefully checked the competition items and times with the staff. Coincidentally, Xia Yuan from the 705th Regiment was also confirming the information sheet next to him. Out of curiosity about Qin Feng and the idea of knowing oneself and one's enemy to ensure victory, Xia Yuan intentionally glanced at the sheet in Qin Feng's hand. But the next second, his eyes nearly popped out in shock. What the heck? Is this guy crazy? Signing up for 8 or 9 events? Has he lost his mind? Is he here to compete or just to collect stamps? Chapter 229. The intense training competition. I hereby declare that the 33 RD Division's 2015 Strong Army Cup training competition officially begins. The brief opening remarks by Division Commander Lu Chong concluded in front of the viewing platform. The sound of gunfire rang out one after another, startling all the participants. Colorful fireworks shot into the sky, like a rainbow unfurling above. At this moment, a man wearing a red armband walked in front of the participants and briefly introduced the competition rules. The competition would last for 2 days. The main assessment items were divided into the following categories: physical fitness, skill competition, and team cooperation practical exercises. The purpose of the assessment was to improve the physical fitness, skill level, and teamwork abilities of the soldiers. Without further ado, everyone proceeded to their designated areas according to their number plates, waiting for the respective competitions to begin. As the announcement ended, the formations on the playground quickly began to disperse. The morning's competition items primarily focused on physical fitness, push-ups, sit-ups, parallel bars, shuttle runs, and a 5-kilometer run, etc. At this moment, Qin Feng had already pinned a number plate 223 to his chest. He arrived at the push-up assessment area and stood in line as required. Each participant had a staff member with a counter in front of them, responsible for tallying the counts. Oh, isn't this Deputy Company Commander Qin? Qin Feng turned his head and found that standing next to him was Yang Kaifeng from the 402nd Regiment, 2nd Company. During the new recruit training, Yang Kaifeng was a squad leader and also a platoon leader. However, what Qin Feng remembered most about him was that bottle of AD calcium milk. Qin Feng nodded at him in acknowledgement, but this left Yang Kaifeng feeling somewhat dissatisfied. It wasn't just because of Qin Feng's attitude at that moment, but also because he vividly remembered the incident from a week ago when Qin Feng had come to provoke him, causing the team leader to shed tears out of frustration. For the pride of the 402nd team and to bring glory to the team leader, he had to give it his all, even if he couldn't come in first. He had to outperform Qin Feng. The rules of the push-up competition were simple. There was no time limit, and the one who completed the most push-ups would win. A captain, holding a red flag and wearing a referee armband, announced loudly, "Everyone, get ready." Qin Feng, like everyone else, positioned himself on the ground with his hands supporting his body. At the sound of start, they immediately began doing push-ups. His speed was about the same as most others. It wasn't particularly fast. Just like long-distance running, push-ups required maintaining one's own rhythm, so there was no need to rush at the beginning. After 10 minutes, some people gradually began to show signs of fatigue. By the 15-minute mark, at least a third of the participants had already been eliminated. Yang Kaifeng's arms were starting to feel heavy, and his face was a bit flushed. He looked at the remaining two-thirds of the participants and felt a sense of unease. In past competitions, by the 15-minute mark, at least half of the participants would be out. It seemed that this time, all the teams had come prepared and had definitely put in hard work on their physical fitness. Gritting his teeth, Yang Kaifeng continued to push through. However, when he casually glanced at Qin Feng beside him, he was taken aback. Although Qin Feng was sweating on his forehead, it was nothing compared to the heavy perspiration he was experiencing. Even after 20 minutes, Qin Feng still maintained the same steady pace as at the beginning. Damn it. This guy is so stable and has such good stamina. Yang Kaifeng was secretly shocked, but his fighting spirit compelled him to compete against Qin Feng to the end. Soon, the time reached 25 minutes, and there were less than 1/5 of the participants still going strong. Just after surpassing 1,000 push-ups, Yang Kaifeng's arms felt as if they were filled with lead, and sweat dripped down his chin. In the military, performing any simple action to perfection could drain all your energy. His arms began to tremble, his expression resembling someone struggling with constipation, and the veins on his forehead were popping. Just when Yang Kaifeng thought that Qin Feng's condition should be similar to his, he was astonished to see Qin Feng casually lift one hand to wipe the sweat from his nose. In other words, this guy had actually done 2 push-ups with one hand. Damn, after over 1,000, he could still manage that? If it were him, just raising one hand would cause him to collapse immediately. After a while, Yang Kaifeng truly couldn't hold on any longer. He felt that if he continued, his arms would break. With his strength giving out, he fell to the ground like a free fall. His face pressed against the damp cement floor, gasping for air. His arms felt completely numb. Meanwhile, a staff member in front of him recorded his results in a notebook before moving to the side. 30 minutes had passed, and only Qin Feng and another veteran from the 3rd phase were still doing push-ups. Both of them had already surpassed 1,500 push-ups, with their scores very close to each other. Deputy Company Commander, keep it up, cheered Lu Xiaoguang, who had been eliminated around the 20-minute mark while rubbing his arms. However, the onlookers cast puzzled glances at this recruit, as it was clear to anyone that one of the two was in better shape. With a loud thud, the 3rd phase veteran's arms gave way, and he couldn't hold on any longer. Qin Feng glanced at him, but did not stop. To be safe, he did 30 more push-ups before finally getting up. 1,586. The judge stared at him in disbelief. You've broken the battalion push-up record. Qin Feng, stretching his sore arms, smiled and replied, really? If I had known, I would have done a few more to break the military record as well. Seeing that Qin Feng not only stood up, but also joked casually, the crowd regarded him with newfound respect and took note of his face. In previous competitions, the first-place finisher in push-ups usually looked like a wilted eggplant afterward, needing a while to recover. However, Qin Feng clearly had not yet reached his limit. In other words, breaking the military record would not be difficult for him if he wanted to. Deputy Company Commander, you're amazing. Lu Xiaoguang quickly handed him a water bottle and eagerly helped him stretch his arms. Come on, drink some water and take a break. Qin Feng took a sip from the bottle and waved his hand, saying, you rest here. I have to go for the parallel bars and rings soon. I need to gather. With that, he jogged toward the training area. Hearing this, Yang Kaifeng, who had just gotten up, almost stumbled again. Wait, your Deputy Company Commander just finished push-ups and is going for the parallel bars? Isn't he worried about his arms? Lu Xiaoguang rolled his eyes at him. Our Deputy Company Commander is quite capable. He signed up for 4 or 5 physical events just this morning. What? Yang Kaifeng's eyes nearly popped out. He suddenly thought that Qin Feng must be crazy. Human stamina continuously decreases. Signing up for so many events meant that he'd be weaker as the competition went on. Everyone else was in peak condition for the competition. How could he compete with them? Shaking his head, Yang Kaifeng muttered, I just don't get it. Really don't get it. Meanwhile, Qin Feng had already gathered at the training area. Upon arrival, he ran into the captain from the 705th Regiment, Xia Yuan, who had previously provoked him. Seeing Qin Feng drenched in sweat and still panting, Xia Yuan smirked contemptuously. Qin Feng, has anyone told you what it means to bite off more than you can chew? Signing up for so many events will only result in you finishing last in every competition. Qin Feng smiled back at him. Oh yes, yes. Xia Yuan's eyelids twitched at Qin Feng's dismissive attitude. Damn, did this guy really listen? Meanwhile, on a small hill behind the training department, various assessments from the logistics department were in full swing. Apart from the cooking team, communication, emergency rescue, and other units were also engaged in professional skill competitions. Chun Sanchi and Su Tiankai, each carrying a large black pot, stood in line waiting for their assessment. The judge stood in front of a row of tables and spoke loudly to the crowd. The competition is not just a contest among combat personnel, but also a test for our logistics staff. The first assessment today is the basic skill of cooks, knife skills. Whoever can cut this basket of potatoes the finest and quickest will be the winner of this assessment. Without further ado, let the competition begin. With a command, everyone quickly unloaded their pots and rushed to the tables. Su Tiankai, holding a potato in his left hand and a knife in his right, was filled with confidence. I've watched so many episodes of Chinese Cooking Master. It wasn't tea for nothing. This time, I'm going to win back everything I lost. Chapter 230. You're so strong. It makes us look incompetent. 68 meters. 72 meters, not bad. 73.5 meters, very good. On the grenade throwing range, wooden grenades were being thrown one after another. Immediately after landing, soldiers responsible for recording would plant a small flag and report the throwing results via radio to the scorekeeper. Many competitors, upon hearing their scores, showed expressions of joy. Looks like I've secured first place. With this score, second place should be fine. I've also exceeded 70 meters. I should be in the top 5 without a doubt. At that moment, a lieutenant with the number 223 took 2 steps back. He took a short run up and forcefully threw the grenade. The grenade flew high into the air as if launched from a grenade launcher. After landing, it bounced twice and finally settled at the front of all the grenades. It was a full 10 meters more than the best current score of 73.5 meters. 86 meters, 86 meters. The excited shouts came through the radio. The recording sergeant noticeably paused, shocked, and looked up. I remember the farthest record for grenade throwing in the division was 83.6. Contestant number 223, you've broken the record. You've set a new record for the farthest grenade throw in the division. The sergeant stood up excitedly and shouted towards the throwing point. However, there was no response from the crowd. Everyone was exchanging puzzled glances. Huh, strange, where did that lieutenant go? Yeah, how did he vanish right after the competition? I clearly saw him just now. Isn't that figure a bit familiar? He seems to have gone that way. The recording sergeant immediately pushed through the crowd to look in that direction. Sure enough, he saw a figure jogging towards the 400-meter obstacle course. The number on the back was indeed 223. Wow, this guy actually rushed to participate in another event without even waiting for the results. I'm speechless. How confident must he be to just run off without a second glance? What a talented person, truly eye-opening. The officer in charge of registration couldn't help but feel a mix of amusement and disbelief. If it had been anyone else breaking records, they would have been ecstatic. After so many years as a competition judge, this guy is truly one of a kind. The grenade throwing competition is still ongoing, even though Qin Feng is no longer here. However, his astonishing score of 86 meters still looms over everyone like a mountain, making it hard for anyone to breathe. In this situation, even coming in second place wouldn't feel particularly glorious. After all, the gap is just too large, and it leaves a bit of discomfort in everyone's hearts. Meanwhile, at the side of the 400-meter obstacle course, Captain Xia Yuan from the 705th Regiment watched as Qin Feng jogged over. His eyelids started twitching again. Qin Feng, what on earth are you doing? Enough is enough. What's wrong? Qin Feng asked. What's wrong? You actually asked me what's wrong? Looking at Qin Feng's innocent face, Xia Yuan felt like he couldn't catch his breath. From morning till afternoon, this guy had participated in push-ups, parallel bars, and a 5-kilometer run. After lunch, there was a team tug-of-war competition. Although they lost to the 705th Regiment's Red Company, tug-of-war is also a physically demanding sport. Yet, Qin Feng only took a 10-minute break before joining the tactical maneuver competition. Then came the grenade throwing, and now he's here for the 400-meter obstacle. Is he even human? If you keep this up, it makes me look incompetent and useless, you know? Xia Yuan forced a smile and spoke in a tone of someone who's been through it. Qin Feng, I admit you do have some skills, but competing like this isn't scientific. You're overexerting your body. When I was your age, I worked even harder than you and was more intense. During sports events at Military Academy, I wanted to sign up for every single event. But this isn't good. Young people need to learn to be modest and not always show off. Besides, you've already broken a division record. Not quite. Qin Feng shook his head. What do you mean not quite? It's 2 records. Qin Feng pointed not far away. I just threw the grenade 86 meters, which also broke a record. This time, not only Xia Yuan, but many other competitors were also caught off guard. When they first arrived in the morning, most people didn't recognize Qin Feng. They had only heard about a new recruit who was promoted unusually fast, but they didn't know his name or what he looked like. However, as Qin Feng continued to appear more frequently and earn more accolades, he had almost become one of the few standout figures in the entire competition. Normally, a person could sign up for a maximum of 3 events, but this guy had signed up for 7 or 8, not counting the mandatory team assessment events. In just 2 days, Qin Feng managed to complete more than a dozen competition events without pause. What is even more surprising is that he has achieved impressive rankings in all the events he has participated in, with 2 of them even breaking the records at his training base. It's quite unbelievable. Who spread the rumor that there's something fishy about his military rank? I genuinely thought he was an easy target, but it turns out I kicked a steel plate. If his abilities are questionable, then everyone else might as well give up and retire. Hearing the whispers from those around him, Xia Yuan felt quite embarrassed. He had only heard from others and mistakenly believed that Qin Feng was just a name without substance. Who would have guessed that this guy was as formidable as a Super Saiyan? Before long, the referee approached, and all competitors fell silent. This time, the 400-meter obstacle race would be slightly different from previous ones. Everyone had to carry an ammunition box throughout the entire course, with the shortest time winning. Looking at the pile of ammunition boxes nearby, everyone gulped. Typically, an ammunition box weighs 26 kilograms. If it were just a matter of carrying weight, they could manage. However, holding the ammunition box would not only throw off their balance, but also require one hand to be occupied. This made many of the originally simple obstacles suddenly much more challenging. This unexpected change caught everyone off guard. But the referee clearly wouldn't give them time to come up with strategies. This modification served as a little surprise for everyone and aligned perfectly with the training principles aimed at real combat scenarios. Because on the battlefield, transporting ammunition is never straightforward. The conditions will be far more complicated than this obstacle course. Those called, step forward to grab your ammunition boxes. Get ready, set, go. With the command given, 6 competing soldiers dashed out with their ammunition boxes. Initially, the sprint, the 5-step stakes, and the deep pit went smoothly. However, problems arose when it came to climbing over the low wall. Logically, those participating in the competition are all elite troops. Typically, they would easily get over such a low wall with a single hand. But this time, everyone was carrying an ammunition box weighing over 50 pounds. No matter what, they couldn't move as gracefully as before. So, the 6 of them had to slow down and carefully step over the low wall, resembling elderly ladies crossing the street. When they reached the balance beam, managing to keep their balance became even more difficult with the added weight. More than half of the 6 ended up falling off. The 400-meter obstacle race continued, but the subsequent events were fraught with issues. With the additional burden of over 50 pounds, the difficulty of the balance beam, high walls, ladders, and barbed wire increased exponentially. In the distance, soldiers participating in other assessments saw the situation on the obstacle course and couldn't help but feel relieved. Fortunately, they hadn't signed up for this year's 400-meter obstacle race. Otherwise, they would be the ones making fools of themselves now. On the other side, Zhao Pengfei, who had just finished the assassination contest and successfully won 2 rounds, took off his protective gear. He looked worriedly towards the 400-meter obstacle course. He didn't know if Qin Feng could still achieve good results under such sudden circumstances. Chapter 231. A single shoulder bag transforms into a double shoulder bag. This is definitely a master. Sir, please, I beg you, give me another chance. On the hillside behind the training department, Su Tiankai followed a lieutenant colonel, constantly pleading. The lieutenant colonel was covered in dirt and grease, with a few strands of potato shreds stuck to his cap, looking quite disheveled. The lieutenant colonel impatiently stopped and turned to glare at him in anger. Su Tiankai, considering you were once an aide to Sun Quan, I've taken good care of you. But what have you done? You cut your finger while chopping vegetables, turning potato shreds into potato strips. You were supposed to stir-fry some sour and spicy potato shreds, and just after lighting the stove, the smokeless stove exploded, nearly scaring me to death. I've been a logistics director in the division for so many years, and I've never seen someone like you, lacking talent, brains, and with 0 practical skills. He pointed at Su Tiankai, exasperated. Tell me, what do you even know how to do? Why are you here to participate in the logistics competition? What can you actually do? I can collect food waste. The lieutenant colonel's eyes widened, and he gasped. The line from a certain show popped into his mind. Your Majesty, he is making a fool of you. Furious, the lieutenant colonel spat back. I see you as food waste. Get lost, go away. You don't need to compete anymore. Just go where it's cooler. He waved his arm angrily and stormed off, muttering curses under his breath. Clearly, he hadn't expected that collecting food waste could be considered a special skill. Su Tiankai stood there helplessly, feeling despondent. He had originally come to try his luck, but unexpectedly, he had revealed his lack of skills right there. He was just a helper in the kitchen, having learned nothing about cooking. Cooking was impossible for him. He couldn't lower himself to that as a proper aid. Besides, even if he dared to cook, others might not dare to eat it. Feeling dejected, Su Tiankai turned around and suddenly spotted Chen Sanchi, who was holding a bowl and placing it on a nearby stone. He was happily scooping sour and spicy potato shreds while grinning stupidly at Su Tiankai. Su Tiankai, already frustrated, felt even more anger rising. In the first knife skills competition, this guy had taken first place. What are you laughing at? Do you think your teeth are so white that it's funny? Chen Sanchi innocently looked up. I just suddenly thought of something funny. I'm not the kind of person who likes to gloat or laugh at others behind their backs. Humph, you'd better not be. Su Tiankai glared at him and was about to leave when he heard more giggling behind him. He quickly turned around to see Chen Sanchi stuffing his mouth with potato shreds, blinking at him in confusion. What? Do you want to eat some? I don't want to eat. Su Tiankai took a deep breath and strode away. But just as he got a little distance, he heard that infectious laughter again. What can you do? What can you do? I can carry slop, and I carry it really well. Ha ha ha. Su Tiankai instantly felt like he was wearing a mask of pain, wishing he could find a crack to hide in. What's wrong with carrying slop? What's wrong with carrying slop? Revolutionary work knows no distinctions of high or low. Although he said this, 2 small tears still rolled down from the corners of his eyes. He had thought he could turn the tide, but he never expected to lose so thoroughly. Damn. Meanwhile, the competition at the 400-meter obstacle course was still ongoing. However, the 26-kilogram ammo box felt like a burden, significantly slowing everyone down. As a result, their performance in the competition was even worse than their usual training. Soon, only the last group remained on the field. However, this final group only had 5 people. From left to right were Qin Feng, Xia Yuan, and 3 soldiers from other units. Xia Yuan rolled his eyes and, after thinking for a moment, decided to switch the ammo box to his left hand. He had carefully observed how others ran earlier. Out of habit, everyone was carrying the ammo box with their right hand. This led to them awkwardly using their left hand for assistance while navigating obstacles. Now that Xia Yuan switched the ammo box to his left hand, his right hand was free. Although it might take a bit more effort, he would definitely be faster than the others. With that thought, Xia Yuan couldn't help but smile, feeling confident that he would secure first place. Probably. I'm the only one here who thought of such a clever trick. Suddenly, he noticed Qin Feng pulling a strap from his pocket. He tied a section of it to the handle of the ammo box and wrapped the ends around his left hand. What is this guy doing? Why is he tying the box to his left hand? Is he worried that the ammo box might suddenly open while running? That's unlikely, just now. So many people threw their ammo boxes over the high wall without any issues. This thing is so sturdy, it shouldn't fall apart. If you ask me, this is just unnecessary, like gilding the lily. Qin Feng didn't explain anything. He just gripped the ammo box tightly. However, his action alerted the other 3. After all, 2 out of the 5 had chosen to use their left hand, which definitely made sense. Consequently, the other 3 also seemed to find some trick and switched to carrying the ammo box with their left hands. This made Xia Yuan quite annoyed. If it weren't for the imminent start of the competition, he would have wanted to jump on Qin Feng and battle it out for 300 rounds. The referee noticed this, but merely raised an eyebrow and didn't say much. After all, the rules only required carrying the ammo box throughout the course. Whether it was with the left hand or right hand, whether it was hugged or lifted, didn't really matter. Get ready, set. With the sound of the whistle, Xia Yuan charged ahead. This time, he was determined to secure first place no matter what. The steel knives must not overshadow them and steal the spotlight from their 705th Regiment. He had tried the 400-meter obstacle course during training before. Although he only carried a gun and 20 pounds of lead weight, this was still his advantage, making his chances of success here the highest. Now, as long as he can achieve a result similar to his usual performance, he would easily stand out and take the lead. So what if he tries to imitate me? Some things aren't so easily replicated. Xia Yuan glanced briefly at Qin Feng's track, and his pupils instantly constricted. He saw Qin Feng, during the 100-meter sprint, lightly flick his left hand to shake off the straps of his backpack. Then, he grabbed both ends and swung them forcefully, tossing the ammunition box behind him. After that, he quickly wrapped the straps around his back and shoulders a couple of times and tied a tight knot. With this simple maneuver, the ammunition box quickly transformed into a makeshift backpack, which Qin Feng carried behind him. Wow, can it really be done like this? Xia Yuan's jaw nearly dropped to the ground. Qin Feng's actions not only freed up his hands, but also instantly stabilized his body's center of gravity, which had been thrown off by the heavy ammunition box. A master, this is a master. Incredible, Qin Feng is truly operating on another level. Wow. His speed in the crocodile crawl is so fast. Are we already heading back? The others are only halfway through. At the scene, everyone, including the judges, was significantly impressed by Qin Feng. Not only did he use the equipment well, but his speed and explosive power were beyond ordinary. At this point, there was no need to even check the time. In the 400-meter obstacle race, if Qin Feng didn't take first place, it would be unjust. Meanwhile, several leaders in the viewing area stood up. Division Commander Lu Cheng was even holding a pair of binoculars, staring intently at the scene. Seeing Qin Feng sprinting across the field with the ammunition box on his back, Lu Cheng couldn't help but smile broadly. Ha ha ha, turning a handbag into a backpack. It's a good thing you thought of that. I can't wait to see how many division records you can break and what surprises you will bring me. Report. At this moment, a guard suddenly rushed forward. Commander, the personnel from the Thunder Leopard Special Operations Team have arrived, and they are already at the entrance. They arrived so early? Lu Cheng looked surprised at the sky. Wasn't it said they should come after dark? I'm not sure about the details. But the sentry at the entrance said it was led by their team leader in person. Lu Cheng was taken aback. The Thunder team leader actually came personally? He originally thought it would be led by a squad leader from Thunder Leopard. Unexpectedly, the one who came this time was the top figure of Thunder Leopard, Lei Kaiwen. The sunset's afterglow fell upon the competition field, and looking at the figures striving hard, Lu Cheng revealed a meaningful smile. This is getting serious. Come on, everyone. Let's not sit around. Let us go welcome them. Chapter 232. Bring back a third place for you what? The morning shooting event has been moved up? At 8 o'clock in the evening, the participating team members were all in an uproar upon receiving the notice. The shooting event is a competition that tests shooting skills significantly. In addition to requiring the soldiers to have excellent shooting skills, the most important point is to maintain a clear line of sight. At this moment, it was already dark. And even though there were searchlights at the shooting range, there were still areas that were hard to see due to backlighting. This would greatly interfere with everyone's shooting performance. Chief, the competition was clearly scheduled for 8:30 tomorrow morning. Why has it suddenly been moved up so much? Someone exclaimed. Yeah, who shoots at night? The light is too dim to perform at our usual level. At this time, many competitors surrounded the judge, wanting an explanation. However, the judge silenced everyone with just 2 sentences. In previous years, the focus was on competitive events, but this year was different. Everything was geared towards practical training. Everyone fell silent, realizing that the obstacle course in the afternoon required carrying ammunition boxes for this very reason. You have 25 minutes to prepare, and gather at the shooting range in 20 minutes. After the judge left, everyone immediately dispersed, rushing to discuss strategies with their respective teams. Concerned about losing the competition, Li Jiaxing sought help from Zhou Shangfei first. Unfortunately, Zhou had never encountered such a situation and couldn't offer any advice. Li Jiaxing then turned to Qin Feng for assistance, as he happened to be participating in the rapid-fire event as well, making him a good source of knowledge. At around 8 p.m., the training department arranged temporary accommodations for all participants. At this moment, everyone from the Steel Blade Company was in the dormitory, reviewing the results of the day's competition. Li Jiaxing found his way to the dormitory door and called out, Deputy Company Commander Qin, are you there? Hearing the noise, Zhao Pengfei rushed out. Li Jiaxing, what brings you here? Just as Li Jiaxing was about to speak, a figure lunged at him, wrapping around him like an octopus. Li Jiaxing, long time no see. I missed you so much. Did you miss me? Oh my Qin Sanchi, let go? You're squeezing the breath out of me. Li Jiaxing, looking annoyed, pushed Qin Sanchi away to catch his breath. To his surprise, although they hadn't seen each other for only a few months, Qin's face had noticeably chubbed up. He rubbed Qin Sanchi's cheek and asked, did your logistics meals get better? What have you been eating to get your face so round? Qin Sanchi grinned and replied, while others eat 3 meals a day, I can eat 5. I drink milk and soda like water, and I have all kinds of fruits and snacks. Li Jiaxing's eye twitched. What the veteran said is true. Logistics is indeed a cushy job. With this position, if you don't have some special skills, it's hard for ordinary people to get in. However, Li Jiaxing didn't have time to catch up with Qin Sanchi right now. I'll talk to you later. I came to find Qin Feng. The rapid-fire event has been moved to tonight at 8:30, and the competition will start in 20 minutes. What? Upon hearing this, Zhao Pengfei rushed into the dormitory to wake Qin Feng, who was sleeping on the bed. Qin Feng, jolted awake, felt completely exhausted and sat up in a daze for a while, having participated in too many events during the day. Even with the system at his side, it was still hard for his body to keep up. So after dinner, he returned to the dormitory and fell asleep immediately. After resting for over an hour, he finally felt a bit better. What's up? Qin Feng yawned and lazily scratched his back. Brother Feng, the morning shooting competition has been moved up. It starts at 8:30. Li Jiaxing said anxiously. However, there was no surprise on Qin Feng's face, as if he had anticipated the change. Got it. I'll go with you now, he said, standing up and following Li Jiaxing out. Seeing Qin Feng looking sleepy and unconcerned, Li Jiaxing hesitated. Aren't you worried at all? The day's competition has been moved to tonight. Doesn't that bother you? Worried about what? Not performing well? Or missing the target? Li Jiaxing said, fidgeting. The three key elements of shooting, lighting is the most important. We've checked the range beforehand, and some targets are backlit. It's hard to see the scoring rings. Qin Feng turned his head. It seems you really care about this competition? Li Jiaxing rolled his eyes. Of course. This is my first competition, and I want to win a place to bring honor to our squad and the team. He said with a mix of helplessness and envy. Someone like you, who has continuously broken several records, wouldn't understand the desire and dedication we ordinary soldiers have for recognition. After one day's competition, Qin Feng had become a prominent figure on the field due to his high participation rate and record-breaking performances. Wherever he appeared, he became the center of attention. However, Li Jiaxing had started to get numb to it. As a comrade from Qin Feng's rookie training period, he had witnessed too many unbelievable feats, from receiving first-class merit to being promoted to lieutenant. Each accomplishment was more astonishing than today's performance. Thus, Li Jiaxing also hoped to one day become a focus of attention like Qin Feng. But the more he thought about it, the greater the psychological pressure became, making it easier to underperform. Seeing his concerns, Qin Feng comforted him, don't overthink it. The poor visibility affects everyone, not just you. Just shoot like you do in practice. Take deep breaths before it starts, keep a calm mind, and as long as you're not distracted, you'll already be ahead of most people. You can definitely achieve good results. Li Jiaxing nodded vigorously. Got it. I'll adjust my mindset. Soon, the two arrived at the shooting range for the competition. At that moment, searchlights were set up on both sides of the range. However, the lights only illuminated certain areas, leaving some spots in semi-darkness. The judges gathered the competitors to explain the rules. In the 100-meter shooting competition, participants were required to advance 100 meters in under 40 seconds while completing designated tactical shooting actions. During the course, 30 moving targets would appear, and hitting at least 25 of them would be considered passing. The participant with the shortest time and the most hits would be the winner of this assessment. In a moment, 4 of them stepped forward, and only when they heard the command were they allowed to load their bullets. Do you understand? Yes. Bang, bang. Bang. The sound of bullets hitting the metal targets echoed through the night. However, many people were too nervous and did not perform well, resulting in unsatisfactory scores. Soon, it was time for Li Jiaxing's group. He nervously clenched his sweaty palms and glanced back. Qin Feng, who was lined up behind him, gave him an encouraging smile and took a deep breath. Li Jiaxing nodded, trying to take as many deep breaths as possible while walking up, making an effort to calm his nerves. The timer started. With the referee's command, Li Jiaxing's expression sharpened instantly, and he charged out with the other 3 competitors. He first slid into position, kneeling to take down several targets, then quickly switched to a prone position. Next, Li Jiaxing was the first to get back up from the ground. While rushing forward, he continuously shot at the rising targets. The entire sequence of actions was fluid and seamless. It seemed that the night posed no challenge to his shooting performance. In just 40 seconds, the event ended, and Li Jiaxing's score surprised everyone. Second place. Upon hearing the results, Li Jiaxing was so excited that he almost danced. He was just one step away from taking off his clothes for a celebratory dance. All that hard work was worth it. Not a single bullet was wasted. Brother Feng, did you see? I got second place. I got second place. I saw. Qin Feng smiled and nodded encouragingly. But as soon as he turned away, Li Jiaxing, with the tone of someone who's been through it all, bragged to Qin Feng. Deputy Commander Qin, you need to work hard, relax, and don't feel too much pressure. Your shooting skills are good enough. Just aim for third place for your team. Seeing that this guy had just finished competing and was already back to his usual cocky self, Qin Feng chuckled and patted his shoulder as he walked toward the competition area. Don't worry, I'll bring back a third place for you. All right. But why do you have to bring back a third for me? Li Jiaxing's smile suddenly disappeared as he looked at Qin Feng with confusion. In his puzzled gaze, Qin Feng reached the designated spot and loaded the bullets into his gun. Beep. With the whistle blowing, Qin Feng's figure shot out like a leopard. Li Jiaxing's eyes widened, and his expression gradually turned to one of horror. Chapter 233. Qi Meng, I'm in big trouble. You have to take revenge for me. Qi Meng, I'm in big trouble. I lost so badly. You have to take revenge for me. In the dormitory, Li Jiaxing threw himself into Qi Meng's arms, looking like a wronged little wife. The contestants from the second company saw this and began pulling out sunflower seeds from their pockets, transforming into a group of village aunties. Qi Meng had to face the odd stares from everyone while gently patting Li Jiaxing's back, asking what happened. What is going on? Tell me. I'll tell you. Brother Feng. As he recounted the events with a pitiful tone, Qi Meng looked speechless, with black lines appearing on his forehead. Are you saying that you originally had a chance to come in second, and if things went well, you might have received an award? But then Qin Feng went up and took first place, causing you to drop from second to third. and now your chance for an award might be gone? That's right. Li Jiaxing wiped his face with his sleeve, looking pitiful as he said, "Tell me, isn't he being too much? He already has so many medals and has broken so many records. Can't he let me have this one?" Qi Meng scratched his nose and replied, "If you could take first place, would you let him win?" "Of course not." Li Jiaxing raised his head, speaking with conviction. "I earned that first place with my own ability. Why should I let him have it?" "Well then," Qi Meng said with irritation, "Brother Feng doing this is also out of respect for you. If he gave you an advantage, that would be insulting to you. After all, your family has connections to luxury cars. Don't you care about your reputation? Oh, but I would rather he insult me once. I want my second place, my award." Sob sob sob. Li Jiaxing grabbed Qi Meng's arm with both hands, looking serious. "Qi Meng, my good brother, tomorrow in the combat match, you must take revenge for me and knock Qin Feng down with your punches." Qi Meng forced a smile. Brother Feng, doesn't he seem to be signed up for the combat match, and even if he did, I wouldn't he be able to beat him?" Li Jiaxing was taken aback and pushed him away. "If you won't run into him tomorrow, why didn't you say so earlier? You're wasting my time." After saying that, Li Jiaxing stormed out of the dormitory, his mood shifting instantly. "I'm going to sleep now. Don't mention this to him, or I'll make you regret it." As soon as he left, a crowd of onlookers gathered around. Hey, Qi Meng, who is this new recruit? Why does he seem so soft? Isn't he the one that Instructor Yang mentioned? The one who put ointment on you back in the recruit company? Oh, this is the one with a close relationship with you. And his family has luxury cars? You're lucky." Hearing their teasing, Qi Meng's face turned red, almost wanting to hide under the covers. Seeing his reaction, everyone laughed even harder. It's human nature to tease, especially in the relatively oppressive environment of the military. Occasionally making lighthearted jokes helps to relieve stress and find some fun. Meanwhile, in an office on the 4th floor of the training department, the lights were on. Lu Chong was sitting on the sofa, having tea with a middle-aged man wearing the rank of colonel. Lu Chong put down his teacup and looked at the person across from him, saying, "I didn't expect the famous Lei Bao, Lei Kaiwen, to personally lead the team here. It seems the higher-ups are taking our division's training and competition quite seriously." "Director Lu, that is not quite right. The higher-ups value the training and competition across all divisions," Lei Kaiwen replied with a smile. "Aside from your 33rd division. The other 2 divisions in the army have just finished their competitions. However, those 2 divisions can't compare to how exciting yours is." Lu Chong paused, realizing he was referring to Qin Feng. This kid made quite an impression today. There wasn't a single contestant who didn't know about him. But Lu Chong did not continue the conversation. Instead, he curiously asked, "So, you went to their place first, and then came here last?" "That's right." Lei Kaiwen replied without hesitation. "Your 33rd division is the last stop." Lu Chong's expression darkened, but he remained silent. Before the competition began, the higher-ups had informed him that someone would be sent to appropriately increase the difficulty. However, there were no specific instructions on how to carry this out, just a request for him to cooperate when the time came. Originally, Lu Chong thought Lei Bao's arrival was just a brief appearance, a way for everyone to recognize the difference between regular and special forces. But now it seemed that things were not as simple as he imagined. The purpose of this division competition was to conduct an urgent assessment of the underground forces. It was also to lay a solid foundation and prepare for the upcoming troop rotation. After all, moving from one region to another unfamiliar area involves considerations like camp environment, resource allocation, and funding. Sorting this out based on competition results would simplify the process. However, Lei Kaiwen's presence felt more like a spot check from the higher leadership on their 3 divisions. The results of this check could directly impact the distribution and allocation of resources among the 3 divisions. Thus, Lu Chong began to indirectly inquire, "What methods will your team use to assess my soldiers this time? Will it be on the competition stage tomorrow, or?" Lei Kaiwen raised his hand to stop him. "Division Commander Lu, there's no need to probe further. You'll know in due time." Lu Chong's smile faltered momentarily, mentally cursing the old fox, but he still maintained a cheerful demeanor. "What are you talking about, Captain Lei? I was just asking casually." "Well, it's getting late, and I should head back to rest," Lei Kaiwen said as he stood up. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly paused. "By the way, Division Commander Lu, how's your sleep quality at night? If it's not good, I suggest you rest early." With that, he opened the door and left the office. As soon as the door closed, Lu Chong's expression turned somewhat grim. He stood by the window, looking at the dormitory building where the lights had just gone out, feeling an ominous premonition. Meanwhile, in a dormitory where the Steel Blade Company members were gathered, everyone lay in bed, excitedly discussing the results of today's competitions. Besides the 4x100 relay, there was also tug of war. They had performed well in most of the other events. Zhao Pengfei secured 2nd place in the stabbing and killing event. Wu Jin and Tang Lei both achieved 3rd place in push-ups and tactical movements, respectively. Unexpectedly, Lu Xiaowang took 5th place in the grenade throwing event. Of course, These were just minor achievements. The real spotlight would be on Qin Feng's individual event results. Essentially, anything he entered was either a record-breaking performance or a first or second place finish. Now, almost everyone knew the Steel Blade Company's name and that they had an outstanding and formidable deputy company commander. At this rate, our Steel Knife team is guaranteed to take first place individually and as a group. I just happen to have 2 bottles of soda in my bag. Should we celebrate a bit in advance? Great idea, let's do it. Hearing that Lu Xiaowang brought soda, everyone immediately felt tempted. However, a remark from Qin Feng poured cold water on everyone's excitement. Lu Xiaowang, put the soda away. It's a bad idea to celebrate halfway through the competition. Qin Feng lay on his bed, speaking in a calm tone. There's still a day left. We can celebrate once we really win. The others exchanged glances in the darkness and ultimately chose to obediently lie back down. Although they held an advantage now, it didn't guarantee they'd be victorious in the end. If a dark horse like Qin Feng emerged, it would be a serious problem. Everyone, get some sleep, it's getting late. After Qin Feng finished speaking, he closed his eyes. It was essential to rest and regain strength to face new challenges the next day. At 2 in the morning, the entire world seemed to fall into silence, with no sound to be heard outside. Just then, shadows darted quickly down the hallway. 2 masked individuals quietly approached the outside of a dormitory. They took out 2 canisters of tear gas, pulled the pin, and threw them inside. A thick cloud of smoke surged out, quickly filling the entire dormitory. Coughing, screams, and the sound of things crashing echoed continuously. The same scene was unfolding in every dormitory. Please, kind-hearted people, send some affordable little gifts for encouragement. Your support is the motivation for the author to keep going. Let's make sure the kids have enough to eat. Thank you all. Chapter 234. Recognition from Captain Lei Bao. What is going on? It's tear gas. The intense smoke instantly filled the entire dormitory. Zhao Pengfei and Wu Jin reacted immediately, covering their mouths and noses, trying to rush outside. But to their astonishment, they found the door was tightly pulled from the outside and couldn't be opened. Cough, cough, cough. These guys are ruthless. Damn, I can't open my eyes, and my throat hurts so much. The scene was chaotic, with many people choking and tears streaming down their faces, their throats feeling like they were on fire. Some rushed to the wall, trying to open a window for a breath of fresh air, only to find that the window was firmly locked shut. At that moment, 2 damp towels were precisely placed over the 2 canisters of tear gas. Following that, 2 small yellow basins were set over them like protective domes. This effectively rendered the 2 canisters harmless. The burning sensation in everyone's noses and the discomfort in their throats immediately eased significantly. However, even so, the earlier intense stimulation still left everyone's eyes red, making it hard to accurately assess their surroundings. Qin Feng leaned against the edge of the bed, covering his mouth and nose, his eyes sharply focused on the door, seemingly waiting for something. Sure enough, the door was soon pushed open from the outside. A few individuals wearing gas masks rushed into the dormitory with ropes. At that moment, the one at the front stumbled on something and lost his balance, stumbling forward a few steps. Just as he was about to steady himself, a punch struck him from below, hitting his jaw. He bent backward like a figure in a dance, letting out a muffled groan before collapsing onto a nearby bed. The 2 who followed were startled by the scene. They then noticed that the concentration of tear gas in the dormitory wasn't very high. Upon closer inspection, they found 2 small yellow basins on the floor. Most of the smoke was contained within the basins and couldn't escape. Realizing something was off, the 2 threw a flashbang into the room. With a loud bang, a blinding light exploded in the dormitory. Caught off guard, Zhao Pengfei and the others were all affected. They covered their ears and closed their eyes, rolling on the ground in pain. The flashbang not only emitted a dazzling white light, but also unleashed an overwhelming sound that momentarily stunned everyone's senses. Just as the 2 thought they could subdue everyone, a figure suddenly appeared before them like a ghost. Following that, Qin Feng's fists began to rain down on them. His moves were sharp and swift, leaving the 2 with no chance to defend themselves. As they tried to escape, he was quicker, shutting the door behind them. At that moment, Zhao Pengfei and the others had recovered from the effects of the flashbang. What followed was the infamous closing the door on the dog segment. Damn it! More smoke bombs and flashbangs. How despicable. Brothers, let us take them out. With no way to escape, the 2 removed their masks and pleaded for mercy. Calm down. Let's just handle this. Give it to them. Hit hard. The group unleashed a flurry of blows on the 2, venting their anger. Who wouldn't be furious after being attacked with tear gas and flashbangs in the middle of the night? Everyone could guess that this was likely orchestrated by the organizers of the competition, but so what? They just wanted to enjoy themselves first. Meanwhile, the situation in other dormitories was even worse. The dual assault of tear gas and flashbangs left everyone deaf and blind. Not only was it difficult to resist, but even opening their eyes and getting up from the ground became a daunting task. They were destined to become easy targets, at the mercy of others. Let's go? Don't push me. Hurry up. I can walk by myself. 15 minutes later, the contestants were bound and being herded downstairs. Qi Ming had red, swollen eyes and a bruise on his mouth, clearly having taken a beating. Li Jiaxing was no better off, coughing from the tear gas and looking extremely pained. Xia Yuan also bore marks on his face but turned back angrily to question the unidentified assailants. Which unit are you from? Why did you attack us? I must report this to your superiors. The man in the mask remained indifferent, seemingly ignoring his words. He continued to push and violently shove him downstairs. In a short while, the open space in front of the dormitory was filled with people. Seeing this scene, LV Chang's eyes twitched violently, anger boiling inside him. He turned his head and fixed his gaze on Lei Kaiwan beside him. Captain Lei, don't you think this is a bit too much? My soldiers have been competing all day and are utterly exhausted. You could have just conducted a night raid, but you even threw tear gas and flashbangs into the rooms? And now you're hitting people. What are you trying to do? Commander LV. The command I received from above is to assess their response capabilities in a crisis situation to the greatest extent possible, Lei Kaiwan said, hands behind his back, a faint smile on his face. Therefore, I have to take some extreme measures. Otherwise, how can it be effective? LV Chong was infuriated. But there's no need to go this far. What if something goes wrong? Who will take responsibility? Lei Kaiwan turned to look at him. Commander LV, don't you think your reaction is a bit excessive? They are soldiers, not 3-year-old children. If they can't handle this little unexpected situation, then in my opinion, there's no need for them to stay in the army. LV Chong was enraged by his words. However, considering that Lei Kaiwan would be evaluating this operation afterwards, he could only swallow his anger. Before long, most of the contestants were brought to the open space downstairs, standing there in a daze. One individual wearing a gas mask quickly ran up to Lei Kaiwan and saluted. Report, Captain. The number of people seems to be incorrect. Incorrect number? Lei Kaiwan paused, then frowned slightly. Upon hearing this, LV Chong's expression suddenly changed. He quickly counted the people present and indeed found that there were a dozen missing. A flash of insight crossed LV Chong's mind as he suddenly realized something. Just then, Lei Kaiwan turned his head to look back at the dormitory building. A group of well-equipped individuals strode out of the corridor. Leading them was a man with a smile. Qin Feng, the deputy commander of the Steel Blade Company. Behind him were 3 special forces soldiers, bound tightly and resembling dumplings. Seeing this scene, Lei Kaiwan's smile vanished and shifted to LV Chong's face. Report, Commander. Qin Feng saluted in front of LV Chong. We have captured 3 suspicious individuals and successfully subdued them. Please give instructions. After saying this, Zhao Pengfei and others threw the 3 battered special forces soldiers onto the ground. This action left all the contestants in shock, their mouths agape. It also caught Lei Kaiwan off guard, as he had brought only elite forces. He did not expect that someone here could capture his men alive. Lei Kaiwan narrowed his eyes, sizing up Qin Feng. What is your name? Report, sir. Qin Feng shouted loudly. Deputy Commander of the Steel Blade Company, Qin Feng. You are Qin Feng? Kevin Lei relaxed his brow and suddenly broke into a smile. I've always heard Yuan Feng mention you. He said you are a rare talent. And today I finally get to see you in person. You're indeed impressive and the only one who managed to capture my man alive. Qin Feng remained silent, turning to look at his commanding officer beside him. Lu Chong shook off the gloom on his face and laughed heartily, saying, Come, let me introduce you. This is Kevin Lei, the commander of the Thunder Leopard Special Operations Team, codenamed Thunder Leopard. Hello, sir. Qin Feng saluted. Upon hearing this, the participants on site were in an uproar. The name Thunder Leopard is well known in the military district. This commander is a legendary figure, having achieved remarkable military accomplishments at a young age and being the founding leader of the Thunder Leopard Special Operations Team. However, what no one expected was that this renowned commander would actually be bested by Qin Feng today. As a result, Qin Feng's status in everyone's eyes surged significantly. With the mission accomplished, Kevin Lei prepared to wrap up and leave. Before departing, he publicly invited Qin Feng to visit the Thunder Leopard team whenever he had time. Like an elder would, Qin Feng did not refuse. Collaborating more with the Special Forces is certainly a good thing. Moreover, he genuinely wanted to recruit that candy-loving lieutenant to the Steel Knife Company. The next evening, at the training ground of the Steel Knife Company, the soldiers who had just finished 2 rounds of high-intensity tactical training were covered in dirt. Their backs soaked with sweat, they sat on the ground, feeling utterly defeated. Gu Jiong approached from a distance, frowning and coldly stating, Did I tell you to rest on the spot? Did I say to sit on the ground? I just stepped away for a moment, and you've turned into soft-shell shrimps? Get up. All of you get up. The soldiers helplessly patted their bottoms and hurriedly got back up. But Gu Jiong pointed at them and continued his reprimand. Look at you. This is what happens when you get tired. Think about the deputy company commanders. They've been competing in the arena for 2 days against elite teams from various units. They are far more exhausted and under much greater pressure than you. Now, on my command, everyone get into a push-up position, 1, 2 up. Upon hearing they had to do push-ups, everyone's faces instantly turned as bitter as gourds. Compared to this endless cycle, they would rather just do 1,000 push-ups and get it over with. Under Gu Xiong's supervision, everyone positioned themselves and began to follow the command. At that moment, a figure rushed excitedly across the field from a distance. Gua Haitao, holding a phone, was so excited that he almost lost his shoes while running. Old Gu. The results are out. The competition results are out. Gu Xiong turned his head, his face immediately showing excitement. He quickly rushed over, taking 2 steps at a time. The soldiers who were doing push-ups also excitedly got up and gathered around. The competition is a major event, and everyone's thoughts these days are focused on Qin Feng and his team. If it weren't for the training tasks, they would have wanted to go to the venue to cheer them on. So what happened? What's the outcome? Did we achieve any rankings? Gu Xiong grabbed Gua Haitao's arm, talking rapidly like a machine gun. Gua Haitao was out of breath, trying to speak twice, but couldn't due to his heavy breathing. After about 10 seconds, he finally calmed down and caught his breath. I just made a call to an old comrade in the training department who is one of the judges at the event. He told me that our steel knife company has made a significant impression in this competition. Although the last event hasn't finished yet, we can basically predict the overall results. Gu Xiong was getting anxious. Can you stop beating around the bush? I want to hear the results. The results. Did we make it into the top 3 or not? Gua Haitao waved his hand with a smile. Why are you in such a hurry? Shouldn't I tell you where the news comes from? Otherwise, how can you trust the accuracy of my source? Seeing the instructor still rambling, as if he were talking in circles, the onlookers, including Niu Taijun, were just as anxious, wishing they could pry his mouth open to get the information out. Instructor, please get to the point and stop going in circles. Yes, everyone was on edge. Gua Haitao chuckled, not intending to tease them. After so many years in political work, he had gotten used to the style of raising expectations before revealing results. The current situation is this. Although the official results haven't been announced yet, we can basically predict that our steel knife company will secure 2nd place in the team event. As for the individual results, you definitely won't guess it. Old Gu, take a guess. I guess you're messing with me. Hurry up and tell me. Gu Xiong exclaimed, nearly losing his cool. Gua Haitao wiped the spit off his face, giving an awkward smile. In the individual competition, our team clinched 5 third places, for 2nd places, and 6 first places. And all 6 firsts were won by Qin Feng alone, with 4 of those breaking records in the division. Wow. The deputy company commander is amazing. The crowd erupted in cheers. In previous competitions, they were thrilled to win just 1 or 2 first places. They never expected to sweep so many this time, with 4 records broken. With these achievements, the Steel Knife Company's overall score would definitely be in the top 3. Gu Xiong hugged Gua Haitao, overjoyed to the point of losing his bearings. His hands were like fans, repeatedly patting Gua Haitao's back. I knew Qin Feng could do it. He's incredible, winning so many firsts and breaking 4 records. Another second-class merit, another second-class merit. But it wasn't just Qin Feng. Everyone performed exceptionally well in this competition. Gua Haitao nearly got knocked over by the enthusiastic pats. Zhao Pengfei took 2nd place, and Wu Jin secured 3rd. Even that Chen Sanchi managed to bring home a 3rd place in the logistics skills competition with a plate of sour and spicy shredded potatoes. Gu Xiong's smile grew wider. This shows that everyone's hard work during this time has paid off. Training hard behind the special forces for so many days has indeed been effective. I need to find an opportunity to treat Yuan Feng to a meal. They deserve a good feast, Gua Haitao rolled his eyes. Are you planning to treat their squad leader? I want to even bother to point that out. Clearly, your intention is not just to treat them, but to invite Zhu Huihui out for dinner. Gu Xiong smacked his forehead and quickly turned to Gua Haitao. You check their return time. Hurry and notify logistics to prepare the meals. Make it a bit more lavish. There's training tomorrow, so skip the beer and prepare more drinks. We must celebrate them properly tonight. Alright, I'll go tell Lu Yong right now. Gua Haitao hurried off, and Gu Xiong's mood remained incredibly bright. This competition was indeed a fierce battle, with every unit charging forward with all their might. Unexpectedly, in such circumstances, the Steel Knife Company managed to carve out a bloody path and achieve such good results. Truly, it's thanks to the blessings of the martyrs. The Steel Knife Company is about to rise up. Gu Xiong turned around and looked at the large circle of people around him, immediately frowning. Who told you to come over? Did I say you could move? You're all so disorganized and undisciplined. Get back in line, 500 push-ups, and after that, you can have free time. Night training is cancelled. After dinner, we'll watch a movie, a comedy. Long live the company commander. Everyone, smiling and cheerful, quickly got into position. Breathing heavily, they did push-ups rapidly. The joy on their faces was a stark contrast to their earlier weary appearances. As members of the Steel Knife Company, Qin Feng and the others felt a shared pride in their achievements on the competition stage, basking in the glory. However, what they never anticipated was that at that moment on the competition stage, Qin Feng and the others encountered an unexpected incident. Some even called for the cancellation of their competition results, wanting to remove the Steel Knife Company from the leaderboard. Chapter 236, Performance Enhancers? Why don't you say yes on some other substances? In the operations department, in a conference room of the office building, Lu Chong was smiling and chatting with Qin Feng like an elder. In the army, as long as you are ambitious, clever, and smart, you will definitely be noticed and appreciated by the higher-ups. Coincidentally, Qin Feng possessed all these qualities. Perfect, just like the children of other families described by parents. Therefore, the more Lu Chong looked at him, the more he liked him, feeling that this kid suited his taste. Little Qin, your performance in this competition was outstanding. Even I didn't expect you to achieve such great results. Logically, having broken so many records, a second-class merit should be a certainty. But after careful consideration, I realized that your achievements are so numerous that they barely fit in your pockets. Just as I was pondering this, a series of urgent knocks sounded at the door. Lu Chong called out for them to come in, and the guard immediately pushed the door open. Commander, there's a situation. Several competing teams disagree with the final results and have surrounded the event organizers, demanding an explanation. An explanation? Lu Chong's expression immediately turned cold. What explanation do they want? The scores and final rankings have all been announced, haven't they? The guard replied. They believe that the Steel Blade team could at most rank second in the team events, and it is absolutely impossible for them to be first. Then, he glanced at Qin Feng and said, somewhat awkwardly, moreover, they claim that Qin Feng has signed up for too many events, violating the competition rules. Some even suspect he has used performance-enhancing drugs. Absurd. Lu Chong slammed his hand on the table, standing up angrily. Do they think this is some kind of joke? Anyone with a bit of sense wouldn't say such foolish things. He turned to Qin Feng and said, Qin Feng, you stay here. I'll go deal with this first. Commander, I'll go with you, Qin Feng volunteered. Since they think the Steel Blade team's results are fraudulent and that I've violated the rules, the person involved should confront them directly. Otherwise, they'll really think I have something to hide. Lu Chong pondered for a moment and felt that made sense, so he brought Qin Feng along. At this time, outside a certain leader's office, a large crowd had gathered, blocking the corridor. Many people were shouting about a scandal and even demanded that the event organizers cancel all of the Steel Blade team's results. What are you doing? Are you trying to revolt? Lu Chong's furious voice echoed in the corridor. The chaotic noise was instantly silenced. The door to the office that was surrounded finally opened, and a sweating major timidly walked out. Commander, you finally made it. If you hadn't come, they would have torn my little office apart. Lu Chong looked at the others and asked, the competition is over, so what are you all doing here? Are you trying to cause trouble? Commander, you must take a stand for us. There's a scandal in this competition. The final results are completely different from what we estimated. The Steel Blade team absolutely cannot be first. They claim that Qin Feng signed up for too many events, questioning whether this violates the spirit of competition and the rules. Moreover, many suspect that Qin Feng's extraordinary physical abilities may be due to some kind of performance-enhancing drugs. Faced with the crowd's accusations, Lu Chong did not explain, but turned to look at Qin Feng. He wanted to see how this young man would choose to resolve the current trouble. Qin Feng stepped forward, expressionless, and looked at the crowd. Since everyone has doubts about me, let me address them. First, where is it stated that a person cannot sign up for multiple events? If you can't find it, then please keep quiet. Second, where is this? This is a military unit, a solemn and sacred place. Here you talk to me about stimulants, and all I can say is that you are ridiculous and ignorant, treating the discipline of the military as a joke. Qin Feng stared at the private who had made the earlier comment, his gaze sharp as a knife, making the person unable to look him in the eye. However, Qin Feng had no intention of letting him off the hook. He stepped directly in front of him and said aggressively, losing is fine, but finding excuses for your own incompetence will only make others look down on you even more. If anyone still doubts that I use drugs, let us be straightforward and make a wager. If any issues come up in the inspection, I'll leave my military uniform behind. If not, then I expect your unit and your regiment to publicly apologize to me. Do you dare? Qin Feng's voice wasn't loud, but in the narrow corridor, each of his words carried explosive power. Lu Chong watched, unable to suppress a smile of appreciation. Qin Feng was smart. He didn't fall into the trap of self-justification. Instead of defending himself endlessly, he challenged the other side to provide evidence. If they couldn't, then they were making baseless accusations, and they would have to apologize. Observing Qin Feng's powerful aura, Lu Chong increasingly felt that this young man was born to be an officer and a commander. After Qin Feng finished speaking, Lu Chong took a couple of steps forward and coldly said, the original team score of the Steel Knife Company was indeed second. Your estimation was correct. It was I who added 10 extra points for them, which is why they secured first place. This statement caused an uproar among the crowd. Clearly, they did not understand why the commander would grant the Steel Knife Company additional points, especially such a significant amount. Lu Chong's next words were like a series of resounding slaps in the face. It turned out that the sudden night attack was also a team competition event. Although it hadn't appeared on the registration form, it still counted for points. In this competition, only the Steel Knife Company provided a satisfactory performance. This was the main reason they went from second to first place in the team event. Now, who still had doubts about their score being inflated? Lu Chong slightly raised his eyelids and spoke with an authoritative calmness. Everyone lowered their heads, not daring to utter a word. They hadn't expected that the extra 10 points came from this. Lu Chong snorted coldly and unapologetically reprimanded everyone present. They cowered, practically wanting to dig into the ground to hide, and quickly left. In the blink of an eye, the once crowded corridor became empty. Qin Feng gratefully looked at the commander and said, "Thank you for proving my point." Lu Chong waved his hand dismissively. A person of integrity has no fear of shadows. Those with greater ability often face more doubts, which is quite normal. However, I believe that even without me, you would be able to handle such situations with ease. All right, you should head back now. It's getting late, and we Haven Tea prepared dinner for you. After returning, tell Ge Zhiyong that I will visit you all at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning to announce some matters. Sure. Ha ha ha, a bunch of fools, all absolute idiots. By 9 o'clock in the evening, Qin Feng and others had returned to the Steel Knife Company and sat down at the dining table. Ge Zhiyong, holding a bottle of cola, laughed so hard he was almost in tears after hearing what happened. He never expected that the Steel Knife Company would go from second place to first. Even more surprising was that those guys couldn't handle the loss and resorted to using performance enhancers. And performance enhancers, really? Why didn't they say you downed a bottle of some famous supplement? Yeah, a bunch of clueless folks. Their understanding of the world is as limited as a frog in a well. Deputy Company Commander, don't stoop to their level. They're just purely jealous of you. Envious of your strong physique. Exactly. Otherwise, how can we say that before joining the army, the Deputy Company Commander had a lot of connections? That's capital. That's an asset we can never match. Facing the teasing from everyone, Qin Feng wore a forced smile. Why bring up old stories? Can't we just let them be? At this moment, Gua Haitao suddenly raised his drink and cheerfully said, "Come on. I propose a toast to the Deputy Company Commander and all the brothers who participated in the competition. Their victory has opened up a new chapter for the Steel Knife Company, paving the way for a different future. From now on, we'll have funding for equipment and equipment for funding." Ha ha. The instructor's spontaneous rhyme made everyone burst into laughter. Come on, brothers. To a better tomorrow, cheers. At this time, Qin Feng also raised his drink and boldly declared, "Cheers." Everyone stood up, raising their drinks high. Chapter 237. Just dealing with the company commander is enough. Why involve the division commander? 5 kilometers, I love you. If I don't run for a day, I miss you. At around 6 in the morning, Qin Feng shouted slogans while leading everyone in morning exercises. For any combat-ready unit, a 5-kilometer run in the morning and evening is normal. At this moment, a military vehicle slowly drove into the camp and stopped under the shade of a tree by the playground. Seeing the division commander get out of the car, Qin Feng immediately called off the training and jogged over to salute. "Report, sir. We are conducting morning exercise training. Please give instructions. How many laps are left?" 3 laps remaining. Finish running, then go eat breakfast. I came here on an empty stomach. Hearing this, Qin Feng smiled and replied. Then returned to the team to continue leading everyone in their laps. Meanwhile, the kitchen in the cafeteria was bustling with activity. Steamed buns, plump and white, were being taken out of the steamer. Together with freshly made dumplings, they were placed in a stainless steel basin to cool. Move faster. Lu Yong, wearing an apron, was directing the kitchen staff with great authority. Chen Sanchi, take the tea eggs to the front. They're too much in the way here. You too. Hurry and take the buns out. Everyone will be coming soon. After sending all the kitchen staff away, Lu Yong quickly scooped a bowl of spicy soup from a large bucket. Taking advantage of the distraction, he grabbed the pepper on the table, opened the cap, and poured in nearly half the bottle. After stirring it, he took out a crumpled tissue from his pocket, opened it, and mixed in some special seasonings that looked like tiny fragments. He then carried this bowl of his secret spicy soup out and placed it on Ge Zhiyong's seat. Generally, in the military, the dining tables and seats for leaders are fixed. After doing all this, Lu Yong pretended to check around casually. Then, with a sly grin, he returned to the kitchen, rubbing his hands together in anticipation, clearly eager to see the outcome of Ge Zhiyong's reaction. Unity is strength. Unity is strength. 10 minutes later, a loud military song echoed outside the cafeteria. Watching everyone orderly walk into the cafeteria, Lu Yong was barely able to contain his laughter. He could even imagine Ge Zhiyong transforming into a human fountain after drinking the spicy soup. But in the next moment, Lu Yong's pupils contracted, and he could no longer smile. What the heck? Why is the division commander here, and why is he sitting at Ge Zhiyong's place? This is bad, really bad. Something big is going to happen. Lu Yong was anxiously pacing. What's wrong, Supply Sergeant? Chen Sanchi suddenly appeared from behind, startling him. Lu Yong grabbed him as if he had found a savior. Chen Sanchi, Can you do me a favor? Please bring back the bowl of spicy soup from in front of the division commander. If you do, I'll give you 50 bucks. Shin Sanchi looked at the division commander's table, scratching his head in confusion. Why? What's wrong with the spicy soup? I tasted it before it was served, and there was no problem. At this point, Lu Yong could only tell the truth. Sanchi, I accidentally sprinkled a bit too much pepper into that bowl. How much is a bit too much? About half a bottle. Shin Sanchi froze for a moment, then took a big step back to keep his distance. You might as well go get it yourself. I'm afraid of being scolded by the division commander and getting beaten up by the company commander and Feng Ge. Lu Yong was also exasperated. This guy usually seemed a bit silly. Why did he suddenly become so clever at a critical moment? Now that no one could be relied on, he had to brace himself and go. At this point, everyone was already seated, just waiting for the division commander to start eating. Looks like I came at just the right time. I've been wanting to taste this spicy soup for a long time. The division commander said with a smile. If you like it, please have more later. Gu Xiong added. Our cook is a true local, his skills are unmatched. Yes, Commander. If you enjoy it, you can come guide our steel knife company more often. Qin Feng also chimed in with a smile. Lu Chong nodded with a smile. He was feeling a bit hungry now. He picked up a bun, took a bite, and was just about to grab the bowl for a sip when Lu Yong quickly rushed over and snatched the bowl from him. This scene completely bewildered the commander. Even Qin Feng and Gu Xiong were at a loss. Lu Yong, what are you doing? Gu Xiong glared at him and said, quickly put that bowl down. Company commander. This bowl of spicy soup has vinegar and chili added. I was saving it for myself, but it got mixed up. I was worried it wouldn't suit the commander's taste, so I was going to swap it for another bowl. After hearing this, Lu Chong immediately burst out laughing. I thought it was something serious. I'm a genuine local, and I actually like adding vinegar and chili to my spicy soup. Just leave it. No need to trouble yourself. Gu Xiong quickly shot him a look, signaling him not to act foolishly. The commander was like a god of wealth today. They absolutely couldn't offend him. Under pressure, Lu Yong had no choice but to reluctantly put the bowl back down. Qin Feng sensed that Lu Yong was acting a bit unusual today, but he couldn't quite figure it out. After all, who would have thought that this seemingly serious military academy graduate, who usually acted all proper, could be so mischievous behind the scenes? What are you still doing here, standing like a wooden block? Get on with your business. Gu Xiong glared at him and whispered. Lu Yong forced a smile and could only leave while praying. However, just a few steps out, he heard a loud splat behind him. He turned around in panic and saw that Gu Xiong's face and head were splattered with spicy soup. Meanwhile, the commander's nostrils had a strand of seaweed stuck in them, and he was sneezing repeatedly. Qin Feng quickly covered his own bowl and pulled his chair back a bit. Now he finally understood why Lu Yong was acting so strangely. He had come to prank the company commander, but unexpectedly, he ended up splattering the commander instead. Commander, I'm so sorry, I added too much pepper. Lu Yong hurried over to apologize. Lu Chong took the napkin he handed over, waved his hand dismissively, and said, it's fine, it's fine. I'm getting older and can't handle spicy food anymore. Just serve me another bowl. This one I covered with my hand. It's clean. If you don't mind, you can drink it. All right, I'll get you another bowl. Lu Yong quickly went to serve another bowl, but just as he was about to take the previous bowl away, Gu Xiong grabbed his arm. Gu Xiong wiped his face and gave him a creepy smile. Where do you think you're going? Just eat here. We're going to watch you finish it. Lu Yong's heart sank. He immediately realized he had been found out and quickly showed a pleading expression. However, Gu Xiong leaned in and whispered, don't think I don't know what you're up to. You're unhappy about being assigned to logistics, and you're waiting for a chance to get back at me, right? Now sit down and finish that bowl. If you spill any, just wait and see how I'll deal with you. Lu Yong swallowed hard and could only sit down helplessly. He scooped up the spicy soup with added ingredients and, suppressing his disgust, slowly brought it to his mouth in front of everyone. Watching him eat it like it was poison, every bite was excruciating, and he could only hold back the urge to spit it out. Gu Xiong immediately wore a triumphant smile, and even Lu Chong couldn't help but laugh, as the old fox knew exactly what was going on. Looking at Lu Yong, who seemed to be enduring his discomfort, Qin Feng couldn't help but feel a mix of amusement and exasperation. To break the monotony of their training life, everyone often played little pranks on each other. Ultimately, these harmless jokes were just a way to find joy amidst their struggles. After breakfast, Lu Yong, forcing himself to hold back his discomfort, rushed to the restroom and began to vomit uncontrollably. Meanwhile, Qin Feng and the others followed their instructor to the activity room. At the same time, a girl in her early 20s with short hair appeared outside the barracks of the steel knife company, carrying several bags. With a curious expression, she approached and peered inside through the door. Comrade, please step back behind the line. The sentry reminded her, and she immediately took a few steps back. Comrade, may I ask who you are looking for and what brings you here? The sentry walked up to her in a robotic manner. The girl, with a look of wonder in her eyes and a chubby face breaking into a smile, replied, hello, uncle from the People's Liberation Army. I'm looking for your deputy company commander. Looking for our deputy company commander? The sentry sized her up. May I ask, who are you? The girl smiled and blinked. I'm his girlfriend. My name is Wang Yamin. Chapter 238. Pilot Unit for Synthesis, Collective Promotion here. I want to congratulate your Steel Knife Company for achieving first place individually and collectively in the competition. You not only showcased your talents in the contest, but also demonstrated the indomitable spirit of your Steel Knife Company, pushing forward with determination. After Lu Chong finished speaking, thunderous applause erupted. All the participants, including Qin Feng, stood tall with pride. This sense of pride was well-deserved and watered by their sweat. Lu Chong continued. What surprised me the most during the competition was your quick response and countermeasures when faced with a nighttime attack from the Thunder Leopard Special Forces. I can clearly tell you that this assessment was not arranged by me. It was a surprise inspection by the military. The purpose was to see how our soldiers would react in the face of unexpected situations. Soldiers are meant for combat, whether in competitions, military games, or drills. The ultimate goal is to serve real combat in the future. He raised a finger, passionately declaring, however, among the 3 divisions in the military, only our division submitted a somewhat satisfactory report. The other 2 divisions were completely wiped out in this surprise attack. And you, as the remaining spark of our division, can bring infinite hope for victory. It must be said that the commander's words were truly inspiring. Just a few simple sentences stirred the blood of everyone present. The remaining spark, infinite hope. This reminded Qin Feng of the great saying, a single spark can start a prairie fire. Seeing the emotions of everyone stirred up, Lu Chong smiled and said, all right. That's enough flattery for now. If I keep going, you'll all be puffing up with pride. Now, I'm here to announce the rewards your division has for you. The participants exchanged excited glances, all feeling an inexplicable thrill. For soldiers, honor is the best reward. LV Chong said solemnly. The Steel Knife Company performed exceptionally well in the competition and achieved outstanding results. After discussions and certifications by the leadership, you are awarded the collective third-class merit. Additionally, all participants who ranked in the competition will receive third-class merit and commendations according to their rankings. For those who did not place, do not be discouraged. Keep working hard and strive for better results next time. Yes, those who received awards shouted the loudest. Although those who did not place felt some regret, they were also happy for their comrades. LV Chong continued. Furthermore, after careful consideration by the leadership, the Steel Knife Company will be designated as a pilot unit to develop a combined arms combat force. Therefore, starting today, you will officially be renamed the Steel Knife Combined Arms Battalion. A combined arms force. A combined arms force. Gu Xiong was so excited that his hands trembled. He never imagined he would witness such a day. Qin Feng was equally thrilled. This move was not just a simple upgrade. It was a complete transformation. He had learned that a combined arms force, in simple terms, is a combat unit that includes multiple branches of the military. It typically encompasses tanks, infantry, artillery, and engineering teams, covering almost all basic army units. This way, issues like infantry tank coordination and breach and clear operations could be resolved at the battalion level. Of course, some combined arms forces also establish their own special operations companies or teams to meet various combat needs. Gu Xiong, present. When his name was called, Gu Xiong immediately stood tall and shouted, his head held high. LV Chong looked at him. During your tenure as the commander of the Steel Knife Company, you have performed excellently, and the higher-ups have decided to promote your rank to major. You will now serve as the commander of the Steel Knife Combined Arms Battalion. Yes, thank you, Commander. Gu Xiong shouted joyfully, his smile broader than ever. 4 years in military school, 2 years as a platoon leader, and 2 years as a company commander. After years of hard work, he finally got promoted. Gua Haitao, present. Gua Haitao, overjoyed, quickly stood up and jogged forward. LV Chong looked at him and said, during your time as the instructor of the Steel Knife Company, you have been diligent and dedicated. So the higher-ups have decided to promote your rank to major. You will now serve as the instructor of the Steel Knife Combined Arms Battalion. Thank you, Commander. Gua Haitao was equally excited, his voice ringing loudly. Qin Feng, present. Qin Feng took a deep breath, suppressing his excitement. LV Chong smiled as he approached. Qin Feng, your performance is well recognized. Not only did you break several records in the competition, but you also led the team to victory with your excellent command in the group events. However, considering that you were recently awarded a second-class merit, we hope you can understand our situation. This time, your contributions will be noted, and when you achieve merit again, it will be combined for issuance. Is that acceptable? Absolutely. Qin Feng firmly agreed with the higher-ups' instructions. His voice was loud, and he felt no sense of grievance. In general, the number of medals awarded in the military each year is limited. Simply put, it's like sharing a basket of peaches. If one person takes more, others will get less. The commander does this partly to maintain balance, and partly to protect the individual in question. It's well understood that being envied and being hated are two completely different concepts. Therefore, Sometimes taking a step back can actually pave the way for a broader future. Although a second-class merit can't be awarded, a third-class merit is still available, along with other rewards that won't be lacking. We have decided to promote you to the rank of captain and appoint you as the company commander of the Steel Knife Combined Battalion. Additionally, you will receive a cash reward of 20,000 yuan as encouragement and extra compensation from the division. Upon hearing all the rewards, the individual nearly burst out laughing. With a promotion and a bonus, what more could one want? They already had many medals. The difference between second and third-class merits was negligible. Everyone present displayed signs of envy. Just recently, the individual was